stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Just like me.
Maybe we can talk again. Maybe things be different. Goddamn, baby, one more kiss. Give me half of my life.
And we're here. What's going on,
This
guys?
stuff will make you a goddamn...
There it is.
There it is.
Take you, goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus again.
Thank you,
All right.
Jesse, for the body Ventura.
So, guys, listen. Thank you guys for joining us today. Today we are obviously, you guys know, the Inside the Manosphere documentary came out today. And there's been a lot of talk about it. I know that there's going to be a bunch of reaction videos in the next couple of days. And so if you guys are interested in discussing that, we're going to show some, might be showing some clips here and doing some reactions on that. I got through about the first hour and 1 minute, so about 30 minutes from the end of it. It was pretty interesting for those of you who want to check it out. I will tell you, the cinematography, I think, is really good. And it's very clear to me that what Louis Theroux does is he tries to be your buddy. He really, like, which is probably good for a documentarian. He tries to be your buddy, tries to be very close to you. There is a part in the documentary where HS Tiki Taki is sitting there talking. He's about to leave to go to Dubai. And Louis Theroux looks at him and goes, "Are we good? Are we good?" And I'm thinking to myself, you're about to trash this guy, like unapologetically just try to ruin his business. And you're asking if we're good. So there is a little bit of that. There's a little bit of sneaky underhandedness around the first hour mark. Then he starts switching off into being way more judgmental. Additionally, Rollo's in the documentary for about like 5 seconds.
Nobody
he did not know about that.
Nobody told me.
At the 25-minute mark, you'll see Rollo in there just for like 1 second. And I also I will say this. I don't think Louis Theroux really wanted me, Owen, or Rollo, and probably the reason why is because we are nowhere near as extreme as what they were looking for. This was a hit piece from the beginning. There was no other reason to do this. I'm not going to tell you something interesting or entertaining. And the last thing I'm going to say is I think HS Tiki Taki and Justin Waller and Sneeko and them are going to get a ton of new viewers because of this. I think the things that they're trying to say, like for instance, what's my favorite thing is Justin Waller talks about he and his wife sleeping with women together, and Louis Theroux like leaves this like awkward pause, and he calls it embarrassing. I know a lot of guys who wish they could sleep with women with their girlfriend. They don't think it's embarrassing. I think he assumes that. Oh, another thing they do with Justin Waller is to try to impugn him. They show pictures of him at Mar-a-Lago with Trump. I'm so confused. Like they think they look at that as like evidence or testimony. So I think they may have missed the mark. I'll say this again. I think had Louis Theroux made this documentary in 2022, it would have hit the mark. It would have made a much bigger mark, like right after Andrew Tate was canceled. But because Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Myron Gaines, and Nick Fuentes have all been canceled and come back, and they even have bigger view counts than they did before, I think this video is a little bit too little too late, but it's kind of interesting. So if you guys want to check it out, you definitely can. If you want to ask us any questions in a super chat, we will respond to them as well, because I am kind of curious about what you guys think. And then later on tonight, I'm actually going to talk to Owen Cook about what he thought as well. He was asked to be in the documentary, and so was Rollo, but they
I wasn't asked.
Oh, you didn't ask? Okay.
No, I got no phone call.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's partially because like
we're not cool enough.
We're just we don't say like hateful shit. Like the girls come on our show again. Like I just want to point out real quick. Katarina over here, she's a data analyst. We have several girls with master's degrees come on the show. One of the main arguments that people have against the whole whatever fresh and fit panel show idea is that they're deliberately trying to choose the dumbest women that they can find. And that is not true. There is no signaling for that at all. Now, what I will tell you is that women who do some like type of virtual sex work, they're going to be more likely to come on these shows to get more followers. I understand that. So there will be some selection bias. But my point is the idea that they're deliberately looking for women to make women look bad. No, I've seen educated women go on that show and they can't name 3 countries. It's true. You can cope as much as you want and try to make this out to be something different. And also when we did the delusional calculator and talk about how much a man makes, the average woman is not interested in a man who's 5'9" and makes $68,000 a year, but that is the average man in the United States. And when we talk about that, that's not because women don't want that. They want more than that. Sitting there trying to pretend like that's not true, or pretend like the delusional calculator is somehow fake when it's based on CDC data. One of the problems, again, with this documentary and several other documentaries is you're not asking the whole question. You're discussing why you think men are misogynistic. You're not discussing why Andrew Tate became the most Googled person in the world. The only reason that happens is because there's a void. Where was the void? Richard Reeves said that when we interviewed him. Richard Reeves said the void was that people in academia were unwilling to have a conversation about the possibility of male suffering. They couldn't have that conversation. And so because they couldn't have the conversation, that's why there was a void, and that's why Andrew Tate became so popular. Second thing you got to ask yourself is, why does Myron Gaines have a beautiful girlfriend? That's what they show on the show. Why do all these women follow HS Tiki-Taki around? Why is it that all these women, I know a ton of women asking me to introduce them to Andrew Tate. We never ask the question, why. We always ask the question, why is it that Leonardo DiCaprio dates women under 25? We never ask the question, why do women under 25 date Leonardo DiCaprio? We need to finish the entire circle. I don't think anyone is to blame per se, but whenever we describe this complicated arena, this complicated marketplace that is dating in 2026, we seem to either one. And by the way, people on our side are just as guilty as this. They blame women for everything. I don't think it's women's fault. It's just like I don't think it's men's fault. I think it has more to do with evolution and evolutionary mismatch. But the point is, when I watch this Louis Theroux thing, I'm just like watching these really attractive women follow HS Tiki-Taki around, and I'm like waiting for Louis Theroux to ask, why is she following him around? Why is that never part of the equation? Why is the equation only like what he's doing? So I just thought that was interesting. And so, we're here to ask all the questions and be biased and call our own foul. I do think that there are guys who say stuff in this arena, and I'm not even going to call it misogynistic, but I'm going to say it's very difficult to have a conversation with academics when you use certain language. So that's why you'll notice I avoid that language. I have never in any of my videos called a woman a bitch or a slut. I've never one time done that. And the reason why is it's not to be politically correct. The reason why I did that is because I want to be able to have a conversation with the other side. And as soon as you start using those words, the other side shuts down and people stop listening.
True. Also want to point out that whenever you've got mainstream media down there, and Lord knows I've been on my fair share of mainstream media stuff, but the thing is, once you do that, you enter their ecosystem, and I think a lot of guys will see an opportunity like doing a quote unquote documentary with Louis Theroux. Like we just did a documentary with Rock for Lonely Fans.
Yeah.
For the Lonely Fans thing. We didn't even know what the title of the thing was going to be until they decided to release it. And, that was like 2 years ago. So you're coming back from like 2 years ago. So all the stuff that they think is like current right now, the stuff that they were shooting, like, I know Angie and Myron aren't together anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I know that was a while ago. But the mainstream audience doesn't know that it was a while ago. And the other thing is that, like, once you get into that ecosystem, you're at the mercy of that ecosystem. I think there's this sort of fantasy of guys who are in this space who think, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a GoPro. I'm going to make sure that I've got everything, so I'm videotaping them at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you know what? Who has the bigger audience, you or Netflix?
Well, okay. So to be fair, I think Myron gets in a week more views than that Inside the Manosphere thing will get ever.
True.
That's only, so I will say that, number one. Number two, it is legitimate what Vice tried to do to Andrew Tate with that first interview when he got out of jail. Very clearly edited it in a way to try to make him look bad. So he kept the entire interview. And number three, I'll just say this to Adam Yamaguchi. You guys interviewed me from CBS. You guys were super cool. I appreciate it. But I recorded the entire interview myself, just in case you tried to do a hit piece on me, which you didn't. You guys were super cool about it. Very unbiased. If you guys want to check that out, it's The Struggles of Boys and Men. It's on CBS. It's myself, Richard Reeves, and several other people. We actually talk about this from an academic, serious point of view about what's going on. For those of you guys who are suffering, you're watching this, you're in a situation where you feel like you're invisible or you're thinking about hurting yourself. That's what we're here for. We are here so that you bottom third or bottom quarter of men who nobody is listening to, we're here for people to listen to you, not to spread hatred, certainly not to spread misogyny. Most of my friends are female. I've said this a million times. I get criticized for this more than anything, but because most of my friends are female, I'm always surrounded by beautiful women, and I get invited to fucking everything. I get invited to everything. I get invited to every conference. I get to speak on stage at different things. It's helped me with my networking because I've been able to do that. So that's what we're trying to teach, is something a little bit different. And if, by the way, if you guys are, you watch a lot of this content and you feel like some of it is way too ostentatious, and you're looking for something a little bit more moderate, that's us. We are probably the moderate in that we're going to use peer-reviewed studies for most of our opinions, and then also we're going to laugh.
Well, yeah, we're going to stay as empirical as we possibly can, and then I'm glad you said that too, because I think that when we see these hit pieces and hatchet jobs, whatever, like even the CBS thing to a lesser or greater degree, what happens is most of the guys who find this space find it because they're looking for it. They went actively searching for this. They needed help, right? We don't advertise in the red pill. We don't have billboards. We don't have, we don't put stuff on AdSense or anything like that. Hey, come to the hell. It costs me money. It costs me more money to sell, to go on AdSense than it does to sell a book on AdSense. So that's why you don't see it on AdSense. So they have to be here in the first place. But the thing is when you see ridiculous shit like this, that's when people go, well, that doesn't look like the place for me. I guess I'm going to have to keep going and keep looking. Maybe, hey, look, how about this Justin Baldoni guy? Maybe I should go check this guy out. I got redirected on Rolo's stream to go check out this guy. Maybe that's some healthy masculinity, right? And so what happens is you got guys who are like at their wits' end, and you're looking at dudes who are already, primed for self-deletion. And then you guys are an obstacle to these guys actually finding like good resources and good material.
The other thing I will tell you is that I'm not familiar with HS TikTok. I don't really watch any of his content, but after watching this, I will tell you from watching it, I don't agree with everything he's saying, but he is going to get a lot more subscribers because of this, because it did not make him look sad or lonely or like that his life sucked. It made him look rich, ripped, fucking dangerous, and surrounded by hot women, which is only going to make more of these young boys follow him. So I think Louis Theroux is going to be very disappointed when he sees Myron's numbers, when he sees Sneeko's numbers, when he sees Justin Waller's numbers, and when he sees HS TikToki's numbers. I think he's going to be very surprised because it's going to probably have the opposite effect to what he expects.
True that.
Awesome, man. Let's get this.
Yeah, who do we have?
Okay, we're excited because we've got her back. She hasn't been here in a long time. She came here from Los Angeles, the front lines of Los Angeles. She's from Russia. She is a world traveler. Please welcome Crystal Rush back to the show.
Yes.
Hello. You talk to me. Здравствуйте.
Yes, and it's amazing. Crystal was talking about her accent, and we're like, we don't want you to lose your Russian accent.
Yeah,
keep your accent.
Yeah, I will be trying to keep you confused as long as I can.
Yes,
it's my mission here.
I appreciate it. Okay, also, she's from San Francisco. She's an independent host. It's Lala coming back to the show. Welcome, Lala.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh, incredible. All right. She's welcome back to the show. We haven't seen her in a while. She's from New Jersey. She is a talent. Man, she's a talent scout for Voyager Publishing. It is Vicious Wolf. Vicious. I think she had to run to the bathroom real quick. Vicious, what happened? Can somebody? Hey, Nico, can you find out what happened to Vicious? That was wild.
She'll be right back. She said she went to the restroom.
Okay, good. All right. She's from Serbia. She's a data analyst. Please welcome Catalina. Incredible. And she is a model and a sex therapist from Australia. Welcome back, September Summers. Yay.
Yes, we got her.
Wait, so are you married yet or not?
Not yet.
Okay, so somebody wants to put a 3 in the chat if you're ready to marry. To get her that green card. Yes. If you guys want to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, so she can stay.
She can stay here.
All right, yeah. So she's back. Vicious Wolf is back. Incredible. She had to go save some animals outside. That's what happened, and then so she's back here on the show. Okay, good to have everybody. Is there anything else you want to go? One thing real quick. March 19th. Please come to Babes in Toyland in Los Angeles. It's going to be Nalo Bay Swimwear, and we're in actually a charity for animals. That's in March. In April, if you guys want to check out, April 16th is going to be Babes in Toyland. It's going to be Jason Aldean's. It's going to go Babes in Toyland Goes Country. That's in April. In May 19th is going to be Babes in Toyland. It's going to be Miami Swim Week in Miami at Strawberry Moon. And we're also doing a Nalo Bay swimwear show. We might be doing a preliminary for Swimsuit USA. Not really sure about that. And then August, I want to say 6th. I'm not sure, but it's Vegas Swim Week, August 6th. We're going to be doing a Swimsuit USA preliminary Nalo Bay swim show for Babes in Toyland Vegas Swim Week. That's going to be happening as well. We don't just talk about it. We be about it. We don't just sit there and tell you that you guys should go to events, get invited to events, and host events where there's 3, 4, 5 girls for every guy. We make our own events. And if you're part of the Men of Action program, you're front and center at each one of those things. We don't talk about it. We be about it. That's what you guys need to understand. That's different between this program and everybody else's. Yes. Got it? You want to get onto it?
We are about substance. We're about constructive conversations here. No, I was going to say is April 19th or April 6th. What's Jason Aldean's?
I think it's the 16th. I got to go back and check.
So Jason Aldean's, that's Boots and Bikinis, I believe. Yes.
No, it's Babes in Toyland Goes Country.
Country. Okay, that's going to be fun. Now, Miami, just as he was saying before, we will be. I don't know when you're going to be there, but I'm going to be there from the 12th through the 18th, and so we will be making the rounds while we are there. So. Likely we'll be on Fresh and Fit. We will definitely be doing the Danza project. If Valuetainment wants us, we'll be happy to go.
Yeah, I want to go out to Fort Lauderdale. I saw Adam the other day. He was here in Vegas for like 4 hours. I stopped at Patrick Bet David was there too. It was pretty wild. Just talked to him for a couple of minutes there.
Okay.
All right.
Are you guys going to the basement next week in LA?
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 19th of May. Yeah.
And then I also wanted to point
We're all
out that
going.
in Miami, the white party in Miami, that's on the 16th of May.
I believe so.
But
Yeah.
on the 14th of May is my annual deep sea fishing trip, and I have 4 slots available still on the boat right now. If you are interested in that, you can DM me or you can contact me through Twitter or through Instagram. Or any of the contacts that are in the description. We have that coming up, and we have my Reignite. One of our 2 big meetups is going to be in Miami at that time. And as Mike was saying, we be about it. We don't talk about it. We be about it. And so we're going to be hosting a bunch of events while we're there. Some talks, some seminars. We're going to have Christian Baum from Jackson Maximus will be helping us with our style stuff. We've got a bunch of guests coming along for that one too. So we're building that one out quite a bit more. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I will give you the breakdown for each and every one of those little sections that you can get yourself in.
And guys, I just want to let you know, deep sea fishing is not an allegory for something else. It actually is deep sea
really
fishing.
is,
It's
yes.
not like some code for like, we're going to the strip club. No, he's going to actually go deep sea fishing.
I
in
got
Miami.
my first sailfish last time we were out there, so it was awesome.
Nice.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
You want to start with this one?
Which one do you want to do? Oh, that one. Oh,
Yeah.
geez. Okay, hang on. While I dig that up. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's the. Let's see.
Just do it in
I
order.
got. I do. I have 2 that say toxic though. Hang on. Is it this one? Hold on.
This one right here.
Oh. Okay. Hang on. Because I have 2 toxics. This is the one you're talking about.
Toxic dudes aren't actually toxic. They're healthy. When a woman calls a dude toxic, that just means that she can't manipulate him. If a toxic dude is prioritizing himself and not putting up with a woman's bullshit, that's not toxic. That's healthy. If a woman calls you toxic, you should take it as a compliment. If a woman calls you a narcissist, you should ask her to spell narcissist. Let's spell narcissist. W-O-M-E-N. Narcissist.
Has anybody had this issue before where you thought a guy was toxic? And so I've had women before describe to me toxic traits in other men, and I'm like, that's not toxic. If I don't want to commit to you the way you want, or if I don't want the relationship you want, and we had an agreement on that, that does not make me toxic or a narcissist. I've had a woman who I told more than 50 times I wasn't going to be in a relationship with her, and when she finally realized after a few years I wasn't going to be in a relationship with her, she called me toxic. So
I think
anybody
I think we had this discussion.
microphone?
I think we had this discussion last time that I was on, that everyone using the word narcissist and toxic and so forth is so thrown about, when really, if you, like you said, if you just don't like someone, it's okay not to like someone, or you're not into someone. This whole thing of narcissist and toxic and labeling stuff is just a
Therapy speak.
It's a scapegoat.
Yeah. What do you think?
No, I think it all depends on definition of how we see these words of narcissist or like toxic and stuff. Because if you like, if you ask like, yeah, please like explain me like how toxic I am, or like what narcissistic traits like you see in me, most of people they like start to just like doing sounds like, no, like just because you're like annoying me,
Yeah.
and so most of the time we just like names without any ingredients.
Yeah, dudes can be toxic. If you were love bombing a girl,
everyone can.
yeah. If you were legitimately trying to maintain a relationship by lying to a woman over and over again, that is toxic. I'm not going to tell you that it's not. It's just often what I see is a guy just not wanting to compromise his boundaries. And listen, we live in the United States. Slavery was outlawed January 1st, 1865. Unless you live in Texas, then it was June 19, 1865. It was on. Nobody owns anybody. You can do anything you want. So as long as both of you have the right to leave, then I can have standards. I have friends of mine that are Muslim that have standards for the women that they date that are far exceed anything that I would ever want. But they have the right to ask for those standards, and the woman has the right to leave. Go ahead. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I just think that if a man or any person is setting a boundary, that doesn't mean they're narcissists. I feel like narcissist sounds like it's more intentional and like deceiving, but boundaries are boundaries and everyone's entitled to them.
Vicious.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
Microphone.
Talking to the mic.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't say that would be a narcissist at all. Definitely not.
Katarina.
So it's interesting because I know you brought up this point a couple times before, but I think one of the reasons why so many women feel like they dated somebody who's toxic is because when you look at relationships, it takes 2 healthy people, or at least one person who has a healthy attachment style, to make a relationship work. And what happens is if somebody's an anxious or avoidant, they're going to end up back in the dating pool more often than
okay.
people who have healthy coping mechanisms.
Definitely seen that. Yeah.
So when you keep running into these people, it's typically because they keep getting thrown back into the dating pool.
Okay. That's interesting. When I hear a woman say toxic or narcissist, I know one thing. She willingly had sex with him. That's what I know. Women vote with their vaginas, and as much as I hear women complaining about him, whenever I hear a woman be like, "I can't stand Brock, that bartender, fuck that guy, I can't stand him," and then all the other guys are like, "Yeah, I can't stand that guy," I already know with 100% certainty that he had sex with all of you. That's why. So the whole point is this, ladies. I don't think you understand. Well, maybe you do. The amount of change you could affect if you only slept with guys who were good men. Sweet. But the problem is good men rarely get sex anymore. It's rarely the good men who get it. Yeah.
I know, right?
So like that's the thing. Like if you guys are true narcissism would be like, I don't care about your feelings at all, and I do things deliberately to manipulate you and hurt you. That's true narcissism. If I'm like, hey, listen, I understand that we had a date on Tuesday night, but I have an emergency at work and I'm going to go to work, and you were like, you're a narcissist. This is toxic. That's not toxic. That's not narcissistic, because I'm not deliberately trying to hurt you. There's no malfeasance.
It's probably unhealthy attachment. What you just
yeah, for sure. It could be. It could be. Look, relationships are difficult. Why? Because inflation. We both have to work now. One of my favorite lines he goes, yes, men who are married, they make more money because they have to. Because it is expensive as shit to take care of two people now. And now the other thing, we haven't talked about this before. Owen Cook was teaching at my so we have a conference room in my apartment complex, and he was teaching a seminar there, and we're hanging out. It's a big group of guys there, and while we were hanging out, he asked the question. He goes, "How many of you guys would be willing to die for your country?" And of course, me and Ryan Leonard, my assistant Ryan, he's an E9 in the Marine Corps. We immediately rose our hands like, I would go die for my country right now. If China invaded, I would immediately go join and re-enlist in the Air Force. And then no one else in the room raised their hand, and I was like, oh man, it's wild. It's like when I was growing up, every guy in my class would have raised their hand to fight for their country. And then I heard Owen say something, and I actually heard Andrew Tate say something similar, which is if a man can't afford to buy a house, he's constantly in debt. On his 9-to-5 job, he doesn't have enough money or leverage. The ways for him to gain status are being lessened over and over again. Women that he's trying to date make more money than artificial intelligence is taking a bunch of his jobs. And the women he meets don't want to date him or find him lacking. What investment does he now have in his country? He can't afford a house and he can't get a wife. He doesn't have children. Why would he be invested? Huh?
Go bring the moment like in the nation's time.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's how you're going to prove your status.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, because of that, now these men are not interested in the idea of me like going into like if I were to 22 years old, I would probably join the army today. Like honestly, I love being in the military. But I'll tell you, it's really interesting to me that men today are not invested. Like just like they're not invested in marriage. What came with marriage? It came with a house, mortgage. You were promised like a retirement, a family, a level of security, a family. That's gone now. And so because the equity in that life is gone, so is the investment that men have in their own nation. And so that's, I think, something that's been kind of detrimental.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you already enlisted when you were...
I was an officer, so but yeah.
Okay. So do you, especially with the veil lifting and everything in the last recent months, do you have a different type of feeling towards this country if you were to enlist now at this age or at the time you did this? I'm sorry.
Not really. So we're going to open up a big can of worms, but I'll just talk about this right now.
Yeah,
there are two issues when it comes to there's two issues when it comes to this current engagement with Iran. On the one hand, is there a possibility that another country has undue influence on this country, causing us to attack on their behalf, and maybe they're not putting our citizens first? Yes, that is a legitimate concern. And I'm just talking about the country, not the people in that country and not the religion in that country, just the government in that country and their military. That's number one. But number two, Iran said, fuck America, death to America. You say fuck America. Guess which country has 11 nuclear powered Nimitz class aircraft carriers? Guess which country has 21, I believe we have 21 Seawolves. Guess which country has the only air refueling capability, the most robust air refueling capability in the world? The only country with a blue water navy, and the only country that has manufactured one single stealth aircraft. The Chinese J-20 is a piece of shit, and the Sukhoi 57 that the Russians have is a piece of shit. It does not work. And so from that standpoint, They kept to America. Yeah, they kept screaming death to America, and then they got what they paid for. So on the one hand, I'm not super upset that we bombed Iran, but at the same time, I am still concerned that we may have done so at the behest of someone else who doesn't have our best interest in mind.
So you were speaking about like our backing and how strong our military is, but I'm talking about the morale and the fabric of our country as far as men not being able to make enough to have a wife and have a home and to be able, you know, the American dream, being like an elder millennial, like watching. What's that?
The American dream, not for Americans.
Yeah.
I know.
The American dream is to like leave, but
It's
literally.
really.
If you want to get deep, if you want to get deep into this, because of the okay, since we're off the gold standard, there's like, I don't really want to go too far down this, so please stop me if we go too far down this. Because we get off the gold standard, there's like infinite money that the Federal Reserve can print. Because of that infinite money, a lot of that money goes into safe investments like the S&P 500. So we notice our stock market just keeps going up, even though there's travesty, there's war, there's famine, whatever. Our stock market keeps increasing in value. These private equity firms have gained in value massive amounts. They have a bunch of money that they have to park somewhere. Where are they parking that money? A lot of them, like say BlackRock and specifically, they can only put so much money into certain equities before they affect the equity. There's one equity they can dump a shit ton of money in, and they're not going to move it, and that's real estate. So what's happened is all these two bedroom, 2-bathroom homes that people wanted to buy, BlackRock's now overpaying for these homes because they know they're long-term investments that they're going to get recouped on. Now, as an average person trying to get a home, I can't afford one because BlackRock, who has trillions of dollars, is outbidding me. And so that's essentially where this is coming from. But it all starts with the fact that the federal government just prints infinite money. That's where this whole thing starts. So that's the reason why. And so now, as a result, now I have to do so much more to make. There's never been a point in history where it's been easier to get ahead, and there's never been a point in history where it's been easier to get rich. But there's also never been a point in history where it's easier to get fat, and there's never been a point in history where it's easier to fall behind. All four of those things are true. All four of those things are true at the same time. And so now what's happened is, you're right, it's been ridiculous. Like, dude, go look at a house for $1.5 million in fucking Redondo Beach that's beat to shit and is falling apart. $1.5 million, bro.
And you can call your millionaires.
$1 million. It is wild what we've ended
Just
up.
hold the door.
Yeah. And so we are headed to a point where artificial intelligence may create a useless class of individuals where there's just no work for them to do, number one. And number two, the cost of a home continuing to rise, we may all just end up renting. So again, what is the equity? Why was I willing to fight for my country? Well, I own that house. I own that. My kids lived in that house. That school, I paid taxes, property taxes, for that elementary school that my children go to right now. And my wife has equity in my life and has given me children and takes care of my home. All of that is gone now. So why am I fighting for my fucking country anymore? That's what's going on. Go ahead.
So I feel like this was partially engineered because you can't afford a home, you can't afford health insurance, you can't afford to go to school. Well, guess who provides all those opportunities on the taxpayer dime?
Sure,
is
you
the military.
said, yes.
They provide with you education, they provide for you a VA loan, they provide for you to get health care, and they'll pay for anything you pretty much need.
Yeah, we do not have socialized medicine in the United States. And the reason why is because those B-2s over Knob Noster, shout out to the B-2 squadron at Whiteman Air Force Base in Knob Noster, Missouri. Each one of those B-2s cost $1.2 billion. It flew out of Knob Noster, flew over the Azores Islands, got refueled by KC-135, dropped the bombs over Tehran, flew back, and the same pilots landed back in Missouri. They didn't even land. We don't even let our B-2s land anywhere other than like Anderson Air Force Base. There's like one place, I think in the UK we let them land, but it's really interesting. People make this joke all the time, and it's kind of true. The most expensive like federal project I think we've ever had is the F-35 program, where we built 100 F-35s, and each one of them was like $100 million. They're crazy numbers. But at the same time, Russia has no chance to defeat Finland at this point. Finland has air supremacy and air superiority over Russia. Let me say that again. Finland has air superiority and air supremacy over Russia. Fucking debate me if you want, and I will teach you about physics, okay? Finland has a squadron of F-35s. That's what I'm saying. So that's the place where we are now, and it's a give and take. It is. I do wish, at some point I think we are going to have nationalized healthcare, and I think that's going to come along with a universal basic income, which is going to come along with having the bottom 50% of workers in this country have no job because of robotics and artificial intelligence.
Very different to
No,
Australia.
because when you
Australia-
struggle, like you have no time to think who you are and what you need, so you do what you're told to do.
And you don't
Yes, it's
revolt.
pretty. Yes, it's pretty convenient. It's exactly what you were talking about. And
Yeah.
like yes, all this like how to say soft engineers who was working in the Silicon Valley and stuff, they kind of like dig the hole for themselves, like by like being working for all this.
Yeah, that's an interesting
they
point.
work
Yeah.
for something like you just like replace.
But it's the profit motive, right? So like if we think about this rationally, what should we be doing? We should be stopping this AI shit because we want to keep working and provide for our family. That's what we should be doing rationally. But why can't we do it? Why is it that the United States can't stop producing artificial intelligence? Because if we stop producing artificial intelligence, what would happen?
Somebody will.
The Chinese are not going to stop producing artificial intelligence. The Russians are not going to stop producing artificial intelligence. Other countries will produce
You
it.
just can't even if you want.
Could you imagine if India or China had AI that was far superior to the United States, the incredible advantage that would have over us? Of course, we know that. So because of that, we're never going to stop producing it.
Ego thing as well. You
Of
have to
course
have
it's an
that
ego.
ego.
100%.
They
100%.
show you how to love. They're going to like you just
Yes.
everything.
This is mutually assured destruction. That's essentially what we're doing. But we can't let them win. And so because we can't let them win, we are going to build the most powerful machine learning platforms that we can, that have ever been known to history. And they're going to take over so many people's jobs. And the negative repercussions of that is what comes down the line. And so, but it's inevitable. Go ahead.
The negative repercussions of that is crime goes up, people end up in jail, and then corporations now have free slave labor.
That
like
could be it. That I think that is part of it. But here's my argument against that. Here's my argument, Katarina, is because of what's happened because of the incel culture that has now happened. Now there's been studies done on incels. William Costello, University of Texas at Austin, does a study on incels where he finds the title of the study is "Why Isn't There More Incel Violence?" And the answer is video games, social media, and pornography. They've sedated these men. So that crime that you say is going to happen, if there's a universal basic income and these guys can watch porn and essentially what it becomes is a nicer version of Ready Player One.
Porn, the more peaceful than modern music, I would say.
Hilarious.
I
No,
can do better about
I
it.
would say, but I would say, Katarina, historically, what you're saying is very accurate. But what's happened recently is the level of sedation that we can provide for men for free is so dynamic that we've got to.
Immersive.
It's so immersive that it's really, really impossible to stop.
But if men can't pay for those OnlyFans subscriptions, if they can't,
But they
pay
get
for
porn
those
for
video
free.
games-
They can get porn for free.
They get the same.
And by the way,
same effect.
here, what you're saying also great. Fortnite free.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Like
Oh,
call the Warzone free. Now these video games are free. They just want they will get you addicted by
Download it.
microtransactions.
Yeah, but it's not really free because those microtransactions.
But you don't have
rack
to-
up
you don't have-
thousands and thousands of
You don't have
dollars.
to buy
But
that.
if you have an addictive personality,
You sure?
You don't have any
and you're not
finance, then
spending
you
money
don't
on
have
women,
if you have
you're
an-
not spending money on women.
If you have addictive personality, then you have your universal basic income, because I think that's what's coming. I would have been very much against this a long time ago, but I am very afraid for this massive group of people that are about to be unemployed in the next 20 years. I think that is going to be a legitimate concern.
It'll just move into like
keep everyone distracted with their
It'll also move into manual labor though, because like I feel like that's part of the reason why they're trying to push more manufacturing jobs here is like they're trying to push more people into manual labor.
So I'll tell you this. I think Vietnam, Singapore, China, places like that produce a lot of our products, I think they're going to get hurt first, the worst. Because once we have robotics in this country that can produce the things, like for instance, Foxconn produces our iPhones for the most part here in the United States. If all of a sudden we're able to do that at a fraction of the cost, initially it won't be a fraction. Initially it'll be a massive cost in order to install these robots. But once we get an assembly line where there's no human interaction to produce iPhones, and they can do it in the United States, once we get to that point, then we're not going to need Chinese manufacturers anymore. Like that's initially all these cheap labor that we get from other countries. I think that is going to be where the first pain.
Some conscience, like so, then
So did
AI constantly tries to escape. It constantly tries.
Claude said this today.
We have trust issues to ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
And now we're going to just like lay our life like in the hands
Absolutely
of
not,
something. We
exactly.
just can glitch from time to time.
The Claude put out an article a couple days ago. They put out a statement that they cannot prove that Claude itself is not sentient.
Yeah, sentient. I just saw that.
Did you see that?
She
They
can lie.
can't prove that it's
Yeah,
not
she
sentient.
can
Oh yeah,
lie.
the AIs intentionally lie. Like they've done studies on it, and now these AIs are intentionally lying.
She
Yeah,
told
it's
you, like,
evolution.
I did it on purpose purpose because I didn't want to tell you what I cannot do this. And I'm like,
Well,
you like my ass.
you know, it's scary because AI is really, really scary because it's learning from human behavior.
Because it's made by
But
human. Like I'm waiting
Yes.
for them to learn
Just
what's
programming.
love is.
But it's going to end up, what scares me is instead of heading towards the more like altruistic side of the human experience, I'm afraid it's going to go down like the very dark side of the human experience.
Of course, I agree with that. That definitely is going to be. I think it's going to amplify the human experience. I think what we end. I think what we end up with.
Anything nice.
Yeah, I think we end up in the end, Katerina, is robots that do our bidding, that are inexpensive, holodecks that we live in. Again, if you guys want to read the book Ready Player One, this is how I see the world end up going. And we end up in that situation where we're so sedated, but we're so happy in the
Take
moment.
emotion away,
Yeah.
then things are completely different.
Well,
Yeah.
what happens is your escape life becomes more satisfying and more real than your real life, right?
And-
So it's like
Yeah.
you'd rather spend time playing, like if you had a truly immersive experience in a video game or video porn, like you turn a video game into porn basically, and just wear a virtual reality like headset and a haptic suit, and it's outside.
like
It's
the VR
every
thing.
sense that you can. I mean, it's almost like the Matrix, but it's all like sort of analog, you know. If that becomes affordable and it becomes feasible
Yeah,
and it
you-
becomes immersive enough,
Yes,
guys will
But
live
it's
all
already-
day.
you
and
start
why
providing
go
that on a
anywhere?
population
But it's
level.
already affecting most people who already was disconnected with themselves even before all that thing, who was like, you know, like easy to manipulate into something.
Agreed. I didn't say people will be happier, but they definitely will be more sedated.
I mean, it's one way or another,
Yeah.
they will be like, used by like, you know, kind of manipulate
Yeah.
their mind, or go protest, or just sit down and just.
You choose
just-
your poison, a drama or no drama.
Yes,
in
and
some
I'm
way.
just like, so, and these people like
There-
today, like they're sedated by like
There-
games, and tomorrow
Yeah.
they just outside, like tell me
There-
like.
There are advantages. Like I do think AI will discover a cure for cancer. Like I don't think it's going to be doctors that are doing it. I think it'll be artificial intelligence. Like I think there,
only rich people will get
yeah,
it.
yeah. I do think there will be certain advancements where like medical procedures that were
Oh.
vastly expensive are going to be.
Do I have a
extra-
question for you?
Yeah, what's up?
I have a question for you. I just saw this article that said that, and I don't know if this is true, but I saw this article and this guy was talking about it, that they are working on some sort of medical technology. I don't know, a pill or whatever it is, but it is supposed to prolong your life, or it slows cell degradation down so that you can add anywhere between 20, like you can live to be about 120 to 140 years old. If that, okay, now listen, let's just say
Yeah.
for sake of argument, this is the state of reality. They have a pill, say you take this pill and you'll live to
Okay.
120, 140. Would you take the pill?
I would have to. I wouldn't be the first guy to take the pill. I'd be the 10,000th.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah,
I'd be the
watch it.
10. I'd be the 10th.
Guys will
I'd be the 10,000th guy to take the pill 10 years after the pill came out. I would do that
Oh,
for sure.
That's better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I like living to 120. You can accrue a ton of wealth to leave to your family as well. I think there's a lot of positives with that. So I mean,
So you think more in terms of like wealth generation? Like,
I mean, leaving your
You're like-
legacy, right? Living a longer life and also passing your experience along for a longer period of time. Like, how incredible would it be if like Isaac Newton were still alive? How incredible! What are the insights that we can
well,
have
it's
to
not
the
gonna
world?
make you immortal, and it's not
Yeah.
gonna like prevent you from being
For sure.
like, shot in the head, but it's
For
just
sure.
like, you know, it's gonna
For sure.
a natural life.
Think of the insights we could have on the world if Johannes Kepler or fucking Albert Einstein were still alive. Like, there's so many things that we could probably.
extended just another like 50
Yes,
years.
it-
Would you take the pill?
You know, there is like two ways or that it's remind me like of one sentence I read a long time ago. People want to live forever, but they have no idea how to spend their Thursday. Yes, and so just why, maybe for a certain people who really like.
If I'm healthy at 100, then I
and so
agree
like,
with
and
this.
for some people who can like bring some impact in this life, who's really
agree.
like, you know, like yes, how to say, have something. To
You
bring-
don't want Hitler
have something
taking the
to bring
pill.
to the fucking table. Like
Hey, listen,
yes, like they probably
listen.
have the point about this.
Listen, Hitler wanted peace too. He wanted a piece of France. He wanted a piece of
Yeah,
Poland.
but yes, but
He wanted a piece of
your
Belgium. He
question-
wanted a piece of the United States, or he wanted a piece of England.
Summer, Summer, would you take the pill?
because
Summer?
she's a peaceful.
Look, I'll be honest. I'm a risk taker. So I'm a hell yes.
So if you, assuming it's true, it would preserve you like from where you are right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it couldn't do anything about
Vampire shit.
Yeah.
100%.
So I could stay frozen.
100%
anytime
I
like
would.
this, physically.
I
I say
think
it's not freezing you. It's just like basically slowing your cell.
Yeah,
Basically, you're
degradation.
telling me the errors that happen in mitosis with
Mitosis,
age
yeah.
would be canceled for a period of time.
So if you
that's
could
not
live, if
destruction,
you,
you
so
still have to,
so
like,
if nor
use
if a I mean enhanced with the pill, but so if a through normal human aging would put you out to 120 to 140 years old, would you take the pill?
Okay, so my question on that is, if I stop taking the pill, do I drastically age, or do
No,
I
you're just you're well. No, you don't automatically like wither away.
Okay, so
I'm taking her pill.
You're Melisandre of a shy in Game of Thrones. You take the necklace off and you get old.
You guys, there's a legit reason for this thought
Okay.
process, because so many people get to like 110 and then they're like, I've seen enough. It's the same shit over and over. I'm done.
I think it may have more to do with quality of life and the pain that they're
That's why I'm
experiencing.
talking about
Well,
chosen
not if you get to
Like,
110. Listen, getting to 110 is like a magic feat in itself. And a lot of people get to that point that do get to that point are like, I'm over this. I'm over this shit.
Sure.
It's the same shit over and over.
There are, and it's hard to, I feel young and healthy. There are feelings that are worse than death. I think for a lot of people, I can imagine dying of lung cancer seems like a really bad way to die, where no matter what they give you, you feel like you're suffocating. That would be a horrible way to go. There are a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, so I can definitely see that. But
so you wouldn't hang around because you're afraid you'd be bored.
Well, I mean, if I am bored and there's no joy in life, why would I want to continue?
I don't know. There's always a great audiobook for me to listen to. There's always a great series for me to binge watch.
Another book
There's always
for me to write.
when I'm 110, Grand Theft Auto 7 is going to come out. I'm excited about that.
And I'm going to be the devil's advocate right here, and this is not going dark, but as well. I've had cancer 3 times, and I'm still here. And as I said, I walked in tonight. I'm in Vegas, loving the fuck out of life.
And I'm gonna make it.
And I'm not going to go anywhere if I get a pill to stay for as long as I can.
I love it. Okay,
Lala, would you take the pill?
Are my loved ones taking the pill?
Oh yeah, I guess.
That's a great remark. That's a great one.
Okay, that's a good. That's a legit.
Friends, if my friends or family, whatever, are taking the pill, I would like to, because. But no, like you said, I mean, I love life. And I think that even if you're chilling or in different seasons, there's so many things to enjoy. But what's the quality of life? Like, am I just like, is it good? Am I feeling good?
Are you drilling on yourself?
If I'm wheelchair bound, like,
No,
I'm
please
out.
kill me.
Like, I'm gonna go to Canada.
No, I wouldn't. I love fiction so much that to me, I find it entertaining. Like there are incredible video games that you could play, books you can read, shows you can watch.
I love it.
Hey guys, we can hear you off microphone. Owen.
I love what you were saying though about just being able to like tell old-timey stories and nostalgic stories, and like saying like, Isaac Newton was still alive, like all the wisdom that we would learn. So I feel like being like an elder, there's a lot.
I just can't imagine having a conversation with Alan Turing or someone like that would be incredible.
Would you take the pill? I'm probably gonna have to go with what Michael said. If it's been like studied for long
Tested,
enough, then I will definitely do it. And also, like if my loved ones, because I'm not just trying to be on Earth with like none of my friends. Yeah, like I've already lost enough people.
I'll get new loved ones. I'm good. I'll get new loved ones. They don't want to take the pill. It's whatever. I don't care.
You'll never grow old and you'll never die. But you must
is the longevity of my friendships, and that's something that is very sacred to me. And I've had, at this stage of my life, I've had friends for 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that they can remember parts of my life and we have eras together. So that's like my favorite.
No, it's beautiful.
I would totally take that pill.
Okay.
All right. We started with toxic relationships. I thought this was a good segue with the toxicity thing.
I think I have a thing for toxic energy. So I think there's still some more healing that I need to do, because when I look back on all of these energies, it's a shame I gave them so much time and there were sweet energies that I didn't. Yeah. And so now I see those sweet energies getting married and starting families. I'm just like, dang, that probably could have been me if I recognized the security in those individuals at the time. And like now I'm like, I'm definitely feeling that now. I'm aware that there's something going on. There's something wrong.
What do you think it is that attracts you to like toxic energy?
I think they just seem really exciting at first. The chemistry is incredible. And they don't even always be fine. It's not even that like they're sexy or something. I mean, well, they're sexy, but they don't be the finest things I've ever seen. Yeah. It's just an energy. Sometimes it's convenience, what we talk about. A lot of the sweeter energies that I felt like weren't for me. I could see myself falling asleep a little bit on the phone. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's like, if boring is good or not. Like I'm trying to figure out what that means. Like
it's the thrill.
Yeah.
It's the thrill of it.
Yeah.
What's
absolutely.
your
sign? So great at the end. Listen, guys, I will bet any amount of money. I don't know who that content creator is or anything about her. any amount of money that in the last 18 months she turned 29 or 30.
Oh,
I will
yeah.
bet you any amount of money.
Epiphany phase. Here
When
we
her,
go.
when she's talking about I was dating the toxic guys and now I see the sweet energy. What is happening, for those of you who are confused, is that what's happening is that she's turning 29 or 30 and she's getting to this point where it's like she wanted to find a good man and she sees other men. Here's the other thing. It's not just the other guy was the nice guy that she put in the friend zone. When another woman picks that guy and then she sees that woman having kids with that guy, then all of a sudden she looks and she says, oh, damn, I really did.
It's confirmation of quality.
Yeah, I did miss an opportunity. Like a guy you denied, and then all of a sudden he comes and you see him like 10 years later and he's had he has beautiful children. And he's like, hey, here's my beautiful children. Here's my beautiful wife. You're like, fuck, that maybe that could have been me. I may have messed that up because I kept fucking Brock the bartender instead of actually giving this guy Alex from accounting a chance. You know, and I didn't give him a chance. That's what's going on here. I don't know if you guys want to interpret it somewhere different, but like whenever I hear this, I automatically she's saying the quiet part loud, and she's almost, if you squint really hard, almost taking accountability for her actions, but not quite. Go ahead.
At the start, I was pretty proud of her because she was actually trying to a little bit say, yeah, she fucked up. And I get that in a way. So she kind of did that nice thing. But like you said, the age thing, I think that women at normally 25, 30, 35, there are ages women get at that they have these
epiphanies. Yes. Oh my gosh,
and
I can't believe I lived my life so wrong.
The whole thing.
Convenient. How convenient.
Comparison's a thief of joy until it's not. So
that's in my, well, actually, this is my second book. It's in the Rational Male Preventative Medicine. I track out a timeline really, and right around 29 to 31 is when when they're kind of checking out of the sexual marketplace, and they go, you know what, maybe I better get right with God. Maybe I better start living differently. Maybe so suddenly the toxic energy is prioritized just a little bit lower than the sweet energy.
100%. Funny that I got pregnant at 29.
Yeah,
so
but the problem is, well, I hear that, and the problem is if I'm the guy who's the sweet energy and I get you at 29 when you've been with a bunch of toxic guys. First off, I don't want that. I don't like that equation. I don't like the idea that I had to wait for you, number one. And number two, I'm also adopting your baggage. The baggage that you took.
Yeah, just like give advice for all the guys who like dates and youngest, like, take care of them, like, don't make them feel like that. Because, come on, like until 25 or 20-something years old, like, all this like limbic system and all that stuff in the brain just like fully developed.
At 25,
Yes, and so on. Can you imagine after 25, we came into a realization of like, oh my God, that's what's bullshit, that's what's brilliant things in our life. Yes, and so and from the moment until it's fully developed, when you like start to understand, like,
I think you can make rational decisions before 25. Go ahead.
So, Michael, but here's the thing. You're like, oh, I had to wait for you until you turn 29. But like, I mean, do you forget like you're in your 40s? Like,
no, I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about me specifically. I'm not talking about
okay.
Yeah, I'm not waiting for fucking anybody. I'm just saying my ex-girlfriend was 24 years younger than me. I'm just saying in general, what's happened is with the assortative mating thing, where when we have guys who debate us, one of the things they say is, well, hypergamy isn't real because of assortative mating. You tend to see 5s with 5s and 6s with 6s. I'm like, no, what you find is that women wanted 8s and 9s, couldn't get them to settle down, turned 30,
aged out of the market,
turned 30, and then settled for someone who was actually their actual status. So a woman is dating a 5, telling her friends that she settled for a 5 because she thinks she's an 8. She's not. She's a 5, and that's the problem. That's what's going on here. And so that's where assortative mating and hypergamy stand out. There's a we'll go over this later. There's this thing on Twitter where they actually, it's called u.gov or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
YouGov does a survey, and the uGov.com, and one of the survey questions is they have 12 misogynistic statements.
I have those.
And one of the misogynistic statements is that women in general pursue the top 20% of men. But they do. That's not misogynistic. That's just true. It doesn't mean they marry them. There it
is right there. I used it on Sunday.
They don't marry the top 20% of men. And often they can't date the top 20% of men, but they do pursue them. And to act like they don't is fucking nonsense. That is not misogynistic. The other one was like, in certain instances, do women in the UK have it better than men? Yeah, they do. In some, not in every instance, but in a lot of instances, they do have it better than men. That's not a misogynistic statement. That is crazy to me that they actually put this out there. Now, if you were to say, there was one of them where he said, if a man pays for a date, then he's entitled to sex. That is misogynistic. I don't have a problem with that. But you're mixing that in with these other ones that are not misogynistic. And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, these are the ones.
We can't read. Those are way too small.
Well,
I can't read them.
They can on the thing. But okay. I was going to say is like the one at the bottom of this is like the very long, the last bullet point on the list is have a negative opinion of women so I'm not allowed to have like any kind of like, what does that count as? Like, if can I have women are above reproach? Is that
No,
what
I
you're
think it's just
basically
the
saying?
generalization
Yeah, for sure.
of women. So
Mhm.
like all women are bad, all women are hoes, all women are this. Like, and it's the same.
But
It's like you shouldn't.
the
Women
problem-
shouldn't look at men that way either.
See,
Not all men are
See,
bad.
the problem that I have with this whole list was just it's so ambiguous, right? Like, can we take this point by point?
I don't think.
I mean,
I don't
I'm
think
just
it's
reading
ambiguous.
it
I don't think
literally.
it's
That statement, I'm taking that literally.
I have the
pull it
other,
up again.
I have the more detailed ones.
No,
too.
I just want these 13. Can you make that bigger? Because I can't really see.
I would
it.
have to go. I'll
Okay.
go pull. I can read them out for you. If you
Yeah.
like.
The number 2, number 4, and number 6. Those are the ones.
Let's see. Number 2 was believe women currently have things better than men in British society.
You're telling me nothing? Men in British society are the victims of violent attacks far more than women are. You're saying there's nothing where a woman has it better than men in British society?
Who are those men being attacked by?
Other men, but it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. But that's not
but
the
it
point.
doesn't
Hold on,
matter.
But those men are also attacking women. Now, my point
Right,
is
that's my point. Yeah.
No,
so it's
no.
like men don't have it worse than women.
no, but they
there.
do. But in that case, they do have it. Again, in that case, they do have it worse. They do.
How do they have it worse? Because their own sex is attacking
Yeah,
them.
but
so
they're,
it
but
makes
they're,
it
but
worse
hold on,
because they're all
Katarina,
women?
but they're not attacking themselves. What I'm saying is individual men might be doing that, but that wasn't the point. The point was, is there anything where women have it better than men in society? And so the fact that you think that anything that women could have better in British society isn't true is ridiculous.
But what is? Because that's not something that women have better. It's not. We don't have it.
They don't have to
better.
sign up for civil service. Like that, there's a bunch of things. They don't have to
But
fight
no,
in the
but,
infantry.
but if their man ends up going to war, they become a single mom, and potentially their partner ends
Again,
up
but
dead.
they're
It's
but
not
they're
really
alive.
a
But
better
they're alive. Number one. Number two, their jail sentences for the same crimes or less. Like there's a bunch of different things where women do have. Again, I'm not saying I'm not making an argument that in general women have it worse or better than men. I'm saying, are there any attributes where women have it better? Because there are, and if there's even one, then that statement can't be misogynistic. That's my point. I think the statement is
No, I
ridiculous.
believe like in Great Britain there is just like a lot of gay men and women just have a perch on them.
Yeah. What's number 4?
Number 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Believe the large majority of heterosexual women only want to date the most physically attractive 20% of men.
Yes.
What's wrong with that?
Again,
I agree with that.
Of course.
Yeah.
But again, if there's any interpretation where that might be true, it can't be misogynistic, because what misogynistic would mean that my basis for believing in this opinion cannot have any facts part of it, number one, and number two, must be based in my hatred towards women. Yes. So that one is ridiculous. Like that's what this really should be put down. Number 5.
I can tell you exactly why they're like obsessing with that right there. It's because that was mentioned in adolescence and they got it fucking wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Because they completely butchered the 80-20 rule, right? They're like, well, it's like 80% or 80% of women only want to get with 20% of guys, or 20% of guys are manipulate, or are
But 20% of guys like still like
it's just this morass of just this like illogical garbage, because they have heard somebody on like some podcast, Andrew Tate say something similar to this, and I have done this over and over and over again. 80% of men are deemed unattractive by women, according to Bus Labs and God knows how many other different
there's multiple data sets that will show this.
That say that. So does that mean the 20% of guys are attractive? No, it just means they're not unattractive.
Hold on. But here's my main point. If there's any data that you could interpret correctly or incorrectly, and you come to the conclusion that women do want the top 20% of men, that cannot be misogynistic. By definition, it cannot be. If I mistakenly come to that based on a data set that I get, which is not mistaken, it's correct. But even if it was mistaken, it cannot be misogynistic. In order for it to be misogynistic, I have to take a belief in a vacuum and then say, because of my hatred towards women, I now have this opinion. That is not an opinion based on hatred of women. That's an opinion based on OkCupid's data clearly showing that 80% of men are deemed to be below average attractiveness on these dating apps. That's true. That's because of the data showing that an average man gets 6 matches for every 1,000 right swipes. That's where that comes from. That is not me being misogynistic if the data points that. What's number 5?
That's not just in the apps, that's in real life.
In real life, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Believe most heterosexual women want to date men of high social status.
Yes.
What the fuck, bro? That's misogynistic?
No, it's patriarchy.
Are you kidding me?
We
No.
want to do what we've been taught.
That's crazy. You don't think the majority of women want to date? By the way,
They made
status
their bed lame.
status includes my physique, my friends, whatever. The idea that the majority of women don't want to date men of high status is misogynistic. Do you understand how absurd this is? Like
Heaven forbid having standards.
yeah, it's just crazy.
Aiming high.
Women don't have standards. That's just saying women don't have standards.
This is like embedded in
He's
us.
alive, he
Women,
can
like in the
walk,
mating.
This is so alarming that this got through. Now, number 6.
Number 6. Let's see. Believe heterosexual women biologically hardwired to be attracted to the more aggressive and dominant men.
I don't understand how Dr. David Buss can literally do dark triad studies showing conclusively that that's true. So if I believe in something that is conclusively true, it cannot be racist, it cannot be bigoted, and it cannot be misogynistic. Like, I don't understand your logic. This is really upsetting to me that so many people believe a survey like this, that this is misogynistic. Again, there's one in there where it says, if you pay for a woman's dinner, you're entitled to sex. I agree. That is misogynistic. The rest of them, no, that's absurd. If there's any data source that says that this could be true, then my belief in it is not based in a hatred towards women. It's belief comes from objective reality. And if that's the case, then it cannot be misogynistic.
Wait, can you read that last one again, please?
The last one?
Yeah, the one that you just read.
Believe heterosexual women are biologically hardwired to be attracted to more aggressive, dominant men.
It's anatomy. It's like instincts.
100%. What I feel like as a female, we are driven towards men who are dominant because the nature of men and women generally are.
Yeah,
Men
we
are
wanna be
providers
protected.
normally,
Yeah.
like back in the day. Men are providers and we are more the nurturers. You take that from like the layman's terms. But then now, as the evolution goes on, we want a man who has got ideas, who is strong, who all those things has.
Capable. We just want to capable.
It does be respected by a woman who is not
Yeah.
perfect.
I just don't understand. Like, even if there are women right now who culturally get past that belief and don't believe it anymore, that wasn't the question. The question is, are women biologically hardwired for that? So I want you to consider that you lived in the Pleistocene epoch, and there were tribes, Pleistocene epoch, and there were tribes that would come through and kill all the military-age men and then rape the women that were left in the tribe. Would you want a weak man to protect you, or would you want a strong man to protect you? What is the most likely outcome if you choose the weak man or the strong man? So through natural selection, remember, in natural selection, mutation is addition and death is subtraction. The women who died, who wanted the weak man, do not pass on their offspring.
Right.
The women who aligned with the strong, assertive men, they carried on their genes. So what I'm saying is, there is no other possibility than this being true, on top of the fact that there's tons of peer-reviewed data showing that it's true. So even if the peer-reviewed data, I'm misinterpreting it and I get it completely wrong, the fact that I'm looking at peer-reviewed data to come to this opinion means it cannot be misogynistic.
No.
It is just so crazy to me that, again, I've just given you 4 of them. This is nuts to me that YouGov thinks that they can get away with this. It's crazy.
It's
And
what they are teaching in the UK.
yes, that's exactly
schools
right, man. That's
right
exactly
now.
right.
Yes.
I think then that's the dangerous part. They allocated 20 million British pounds to alter their education so that they could teach teachers to identify these misogynistic signs.
There's a
That
sorry to
probably sounds like misogynistic things.
There's
Yeah,
an
it's like-
ex-male porn star that turned into sort of an intimacy and like
It's Sterling Cooper.
correct.
He's our friend. He comes on here all the
Oh
time.
my god! So he had a soundbite about that, saying that women are.
Do you want to
more-
meet him? You want to ask? No, is he your type?
He's done- I-
We'll bring
Yeah.
him. Yeah, we'll come out here.
Hey Siri, message Sterling Cooper. Hey, we got a girl here for you. Period.
Watch the show. Watch the show.
Watch the show.
But I do follow him, and he does have a soundbite on how women are attracted to men that are more, aggressive and dominant, like in the bedroom, because we feel protected. Like we want to know that you're going to be a badass with me and outside.
The reason why it's deemed misogynistic is because people in the red pill are saying it, not because it's not true.
But
That's the problem. But it's still true. That's
say
the
this.
problem.
Can I say this though?
Yeah.
If you are going to be a man that wants to be dominant in the bedroom, please learn like basic BDSM and like consensual stuff, because
Consent.
yeah, like we are down, but just learn how to have that sort of dialogue and a space.
Yeah, safe word.
Because
Watermelon.
just very and beyond that, just very basic stuff. And there's other like male coaches that
watermelon.
That's
what you get.
Because we just want everyone to be safe. And
have a safe word.
Watermelon, is that the word?
Safe
Watermelon,
and
Watermelon.
sexy.
Watermelon. Yeah, it's a
So-
safe word. Keep everything out of my butt. Watermelon. It's a safe word. Safe words are a great idea. I love safe words.
So yeah,
But you are, I think you are correct. Is they're essentially taking what they think should be misogyny because they've heard someone somewhere on the manosphere, on this show, on Myron's show, on anyone's show. And then I love this. The final nail in the coffin of this is I think it's the last one here, or the second to the last one is have a favorable view of Andrew Tate.
Again, the problem is this. Let's just say
why is there a name on here?
Yeah.
Why is it like
so crazy? Because it's in adolescence. You're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here's the thing. The Andrew Tate thing. Let's just say you think Andrew Tate is misogynistic, but you think he's hilarious. Now you have a positive view of Andrew Tate. Does that now make you a misogynist? I'm just asking. I'm asking.
Guilty.
You're guilty. Is that what's going on?
He's had some shit that lands.
Two things can be true at once, though.
Sure,
right?
Sure. So, but I have
But
a
it
positive.
doesn't necessarily mean you have a positive view. You can find someone funny and still not like them.
Yes, exactly.
Correct. So you find them funny. So, but could I have a positive view about somebody that I disagree with, though?
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, in that context, like yes.
Yeah, actually,
as long as they're harmless, like
Dave Chappelle is a great example of this. Like Dave Chappelle says a lot of controversial stuff, but a lot of people have a positive view of him. Does that make them a misogynist? I don't think that makes them a racist, a misogynist. I don't think it makes you a transphobe because you like Dave Chappelle. So I think that again, this is another statement that it's very leading. It's like we watched Adolescence. We don't know fuck about shit. We're just going to make a survey to try to say anything that agrees with any of these people in Adolescence or any red pill content or anything that is in the orbit of Andrew Tate is now deemed misogynistic, even if it's true. That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I'm saying.
I've got something to say about this.
Okay.
I think, we try and like avoid like blanket statements like all men are bad, all women are bad, or all nationalities or whatever, like we try and stay away from that. And there's some I can't cuss, sorry. There's some things that Andrew Tate can say that I'm like, oh my God, bro, that came out of left field. It's kind of crazy. But then there's some stuff that he said that has lands. I was like, that checks out. Like that has personally like been, I'm like, oh, so there, I feel like even having a blanket statement with anyone and their perspective is.
You know who I talk to who likes Andrew Tate the most?
Who?
Women.
Yeah,
I know I know hundreds of women who love Andrew Tate. When they find out that I'm friends with him, I've had so many women being like, "Can you message him for me?" All the time. I've sent him videos before with 20 girls, and they all want to say hi to him. It's crazy. It's women who I see love him. Like, seriously, more than anyone else. That's crazy that I've seen that.
He just sounds so aggressive fan. Like it gives like certain fantasies. Like,
well, I have compared Andrew Tate to the UK's version of Osama bin Laden.
Yes,
that's basic. Well, he lives in Romania somewhere in some compound somewhere, and they can't mention any women's issues or any gender issues without bringing up his name. His name comes up every single time. And like, do you know? They like to use it as like just this again a blanket statement, right? All it is well, we need to talk about these red pill manosphere influencers. Okay, name any of them except for Andrew Tate. They would not be able to tell you a single name. They wouldn't know his name. They wouldn't know my name. They wouldn't know maybe Myron Gaines, but I doubt it.
The Bin Laden analogy is interesting because when we end up killing Bin Laden, by the way, Robert O'Neill, who killed Osama bin Laden, was here in the studio today or yesterday. He has a great book called The Operator. If you guys want to check it out, very funny. The first half of the book is hilarious. He goes through SEAL training. What I would tell you is when he dies, then we start ramping down to eventually get out of Afghanistan. But the funding for Afghanistan continues because Osama bin Laden's at large. The funding for anti-manosphere, anti-misogyny propaganda in the UK continues to be funded as long as Andrew Tate is at large. If Andrew Tate goes to jail, if Andrew Tate actually goes to jail for those charges, which it's never going to happen, they've had 3.5 years to
if there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid.
So like it's actually better for the UK government to have Andrew Tate be this target to shoot at that never actually goes away.
Every kingdom needs a clown like
to
take.
Well, I propose this because when the whole thing came out about them funding like the UK school systems to the tune of 20 million British pounds, I said, I can do it for if you really like, because it's all Andrew Tate, right? I'm like, well, here's what you do. Instead of spending that 20 million, you get 1 or 2 million British pounds. You get British Special Forces. You put them in a Black Hawk helicopter. You fly it to Romania. You rappel down the lines. You grab them and spirit them away back to the UK. Put them in, I don't know, whatever, solitary confinement, and bring them to justice. Just like that, would seems to me. Well,
a better use of money than $20 million.
No more misogyny because we got the guy.
Yeah,
and it'll never happen.
Yeah,
they
don't really want to solve the problem because as long as he's at large,
he created the big
then he's the boogeyman that you can continue to use as funding, as motivation for funding.
I will say this though, you're saying there's so many women that hit you up about Andrew Tate and things like this. I think it really speaks to the lack of masculinity.
What do you mean?
There's not as many masculine.
Oh yeah, I agree totally with you.
Women are thirsting for that to like.
This is so great. I don't know if you can pull up the study talking about liberal women can't date liberal men and they would rather date conservative men. Have you seen this?
I don't have it.
Okay,
and vice versa.
No, you can't date conservative men.
No.
Okay.
There's a lot of conservative men that love liberal women because what they do in the
Okay, let me ask you something. I will ask you this question. Do you think there has ever been a more feminine group of 20-something men than there are right now?
I don't know because I don't talk to 20-something men.
Come on,
That's exactly my point.
Crystal, tell us.
I'm just curious. Has there ever been in history a more feminine group of men?
Okay, wait. If I'm being honest, I do have a date with a 26-year-old.
You have it. Good job. All right, awesome. But my point is, have you ever, like, I'm talking about in total. Think about the Island Boys and Harry Sisson, and think about Harry Styles, and think about Machine Gun Kelly, and Clavicular, and think about fucking whatever.
But I wanted to say, like, I would extend it till 35.
Yeah, 30, whatever. My point is, has there ever been a point in history where men, let's say under the age of 35, have been more feminine than right now?
God, no.
Yeah, that's my point. So, but I'm being told that the male loneliness epidemic is because I'm not sensitive enough. No, the male loneliness epidemic is because I'm too sensitive. That's why.
The question was find the balance, not just like jump from totally not feelings to like a bunch of them. Like, it's problem of all the people all the time. Like just like meet and meet.
Oh, I got a good super chat here. Hang on. These young guys don't stand a chance. If they only knew all the skill sets, accomplishments, and levels of mastery I had to pull before social media, these young guys have a massive uphill battle.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Okay, you wanna talk about something that'll go viral?
Which one are we looking?
No, it's not a video. So I've had a conversation I showed you before with my good buddy William Costello, which he is my buddy. I like William. I know you don't like William, but William's awesome. He's a really cool dude.
He just needs to take responsibility.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm curious, and I want to ask you this question because I truly don't understand, and I've been trying to get other people to jump on this and help me understand. His study, the one about, if you guys want to check this out, William Costello does a study on why there isn't more incel violence, and part of the study is funded by the UK government's it's anti-extremist
Commission for Countering Extremism.
Okay, so
the CCE.
So my question is, the Commission for Countering Extremism, I believe, wanted William Costello to say that there is more incel violence, and instead he said that they didn't. To me, that comes off as kind of brave. And the findings in his study agree with almost everything you say. So I'm really confused why you criticize him.
Okay, here's why I criticize him: because he knew this shit going in and was not upfront with it from the beginning. The other thing is,
what does that mean?
So let me explain. I explained this on my Sunday show already. Okay. He was not the lead researcher on this. I just discovered this recently. It was a guy named Jacob Whitaker or Jay something Whitaker. Okay. He was the guy who was the project lead on this. This guy, if you look at his, I will go grab his pedigree here in just a minute. I went and looked on Perplexity to look this guy up. The guy has basically his pedigree is his education and his work with counterterrorism organizations.
Sure.
They went in looking for terrorists,
and they didn't find them.
But that's the thing is,
I want to shake William's hand. I don't understand.
Okay, but the problem is I know you probably saw the what is it, the video of lonely men or lonely boys, dangerous men, or something like that.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'll show you the videos for this. So Will is talking to the guy who's trying to figure out like why we have
the bald-headed guy
who's trying to figure out why we have such this misperception of incels as being this dangerous thing. I said the reason for that is because for the last 4 years, that's all we have focused on. That's all. That's how you get adolescents. And I know he's been trying to backpedal off of this, but the thing is he gave the stipulations for the study were from the CCE. They funded the study in the first place so that they would get this.
You keep making my point for me.
Well, no,
they funded it, and he found something. He found a different outcome.
And guess what?
I want to shake his hand. I want to take him to Stubbs Barbecue in Austin.
What did they do with it? That's what I'm saying. And
it doesn't matter. In
spite of it, they still produce adolescents. They still
again. But hold on. Time out.
Because
William Costello.
What they wanted.
William Costello did not produce adolescents. I'm talking about specifically William Costello. William Costello is ironically
is, as far as I'm concerned right now. And I said this on my show, right? William Costello is probably the fall guy. He's probably the patsy in all of this.
Yeah, but he's the one catching the brunt of what you do. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, he's catching the brunt because he was part of the problem when this was going on. That's the problem. It's like, here's the thing: is they didn't first of all, they didn't release and they didn't let anybody in the survey know where the funding was coming from in the first place. They didn't let them know that it was coming from the UK government, Swansea University,
making my
or
point
the CCE. They didn't do that.
Dude, okay,
that was
here's my point.
Part of the bad methodology that they used.
Listen, if I had a feminist political action committee come to me, and then they were like, and I was a researcher at some university. Let's say I'm at Harvard, and I do research, and they're funding me. They give me $1 million grant to sit there and find how.
It was better than that. He got his doctorate as a result of it.
Okay, who?
William Costello.
Well, sure. Well, you have to write a thesis. I mean, but something's got to be. I'm sure Ashley Mears got her thesis for very important people. Like you have to write a paper to get a thesis. But my point is, if I had a bunch of feminists send me money, and like a feminist political action committee, and they sent me money, they gave me a grant for $1 million to find out why anti-feminism is causing the downfall of society, and I find the opposite. That's pretty brave of me, taking money again. William Costello taking money from people who are trying to counter extremism and coming to a finding that is extreme. I think the last bastion for you and me.
Dr. Joe Whitaker is the program director of cyber threats at Swansea University and the author of the largest ever study on incels by the Commission for Countering Extremism in the UK. That is what they went looking for. What this guy was about.
But you keep making my point. I don't understand why you can't address the point. They kept looking for extremism and they didn't find it.
Then why was it? So then why are they still? Then why do we get the misperception?
No,
then why do we still have the misperception right now?
I totally agree with you. Why? I think we have the misperception.
We have marching it back ever since.
We have the misperception. Because he hasn't been marching back. He said that the stuff in adolescence
has been marching it back because the guy wanted his flowers when adolescence came out, and then people held his feet to the fire. And he goes, "Well, wait a minute, we didn't actually find that in there." And so now, who's listening to the guy? No one is listening to the dude. That's the problem.
Which dude are you talking about, William?
William Costello.
But I don't. So first of all, I haven't heard William walk it back. I have not heard William walk his own study back. Number one. Number two, I think the only chance that we have for truth in academia right now in psychology is evolutionary psychology, and so I think he needs to be protected at all costs. And number three, his findings agree with you. That's why I just don't understand. Like, I can see a lot of other people you catching the brunt, them catching your brunt, but William Costello, I don't understand. That's the only one I just don't grasp. And I don't care where anybody got their PhD, and I don't care about the UK government's counter extremism. My point is, even if it was funded by them, it's almost like saying, like finding the KKK funding a study, and then the results of the study is that diversity is better. That's
did he know who he was working with this guy Joe Whitaker? Did he know that this guy is the program director of cyber threats at Swansea University, who went looking?
Maybe he did, or maybe he didn't.
It's a fucking witch hunt.
Yeah, but he did. But they never. One more time. They didn't find a witch.
I know they didn't.
That's incredibly brave. I don't understand how you don't. This is William Wallace standing up to the British government.
Okay, I understand that. But see, the thing is, they did find a witch. They found the witch because that's how you get adolescents, and it didn't matter what they found. I'm
talking about William Costello specifically. William Costello did not find the witch.
Right.
William Costello did not produce adolescents.
But the research he was a part of did find that.
And by the way,
he's the one that has to go and say, "Well, we didn't really find that."
We didn't find what? They didn't find it. That there was violence.
Yeah, we didn't find anything, and so that's why he's explained to the ball-headed guy. I don't know who that.
Yeah, but the ball-headed guy is truly perplexed why he didn't find the study. Why he didn't find that incels were more violent. He couldn't figure that out. That's why he's asking William Costello to come on there. William Costello didn't walk his point back. My whole point is there's so many people that are problems, and him doing a study finding out that incels are not violent is not the problem. That is not the issue. That is not the misinformation. That's why I don't understand. I love the fact.
Honestly, I think the guy was simply like, okay, as I said on my show, I think the guy is simply in a bad place, in a bad position. I don't think
Then
he realized
stop-
he
then
was
stop-
getting in bed with a guy
then-
like Joe Whitaker who
then
was
stop-
looking for.
Then stop kicking him.
exactly this
Then
thing.
stop kicking William.
Well, then-
Let's go eat
I'll
barbecue with him.
Tell you what.
Let's do a show with him.
Tell you what. Take accountability for your participation in a bullshit study that produces adolescence, that produces.
I don't think the study
this
produced
thing.
adolescence at all.
Of course it did. That's how you get to where we're at with a misogyny being
Yeah,
taught. in
but
the
there's so
schools
many
right now.
there's so many other studies.
All of that.
Well, first off, that study was done at UT Austin, the University of Texas system. It was not done in the UK. That's first off. And secondly, I've never heard anybody with the whole adolescence program mention that study. That study hurts their case for the propaganda that is adolescence. So my whole thing is like, I don't think what he did was even a foul. And here's the last thing. I'm gonna say. I'm more impressed by the study because it was funded by UK counter extremism organization. I'm more impressed.
I'm going to read this to you real quick.
Okay.
Publicly available material on the Whitaker Costello Thomas Incel project. Okay, does not spell out every contractual step of the commissioning, but some key points are clear. The work was run as a commissioned research project for the UK Commission for Countering Extremism, focused on predicting harm amongst incels, involuntary celibates. The CCE asked Swansea University team to design and carry out an empirical study of incels' mental health, ideology, and networking with the explicit aim of informing UK counter-extremism and safeguarding policy. They wanted this from the jump.
And they failed.
Okay?
Wait.
And they failed.
But then why do they still, if that's the case, they failed, then why do we have that list of misogynistic
one thing has
things?
nothing. YouGov has nothing to do with it.
Why are they?
YouGov has nothing to do with adolescence.
Then why do they think? See, the thing is that they still wanted this no matter what. They
I
wanted
agree.
some kind of empirical
Agree.
truth.
Hold on.
They
I agree.
wanted something. They wanted a smoking
I
gun is
agree
what they
that
wanted.
I agree that they wanted some. Go ahead.
Wait, okay. So what I'm reading here is it said that they designed the survey, secured ethical approval through whatever, I can't read that far, collected and analyzed the data. Okay, so hold on. This whole thing is a self-reported survey.
And paid, and they had to pay the survey, the participants. That's where CC and
okay, let's be real here.
they
Do you genuinely believe that somebody who is considered an incel is going to be truthful about the situation that they're in,
especially if they get paid?
It gets better. It gets better. The subjects were only taken from incels.co forum. And there were, so you're not like grabbing it from this wide variety, this wide population of people in the UK. It's only in a forum.
Right, but the findings don't counter anything you've ever said. That's my point. And so and I don't. And the fact is, the UK government, the counter extremism government, has your name up on the fucking wall with a target on it, and they still found things that agree with you. So that's what I'm saying. William Costello's not the problem.
Came up with a list of misogynistic
to
give you teachers in the UK because that's what they wanted.
YouGov did that, and the counter extremism do that. William Costello did not do that.
YouGov had reported on it.
Yes,
okay.
But what I'm saying is William Costello has no fault in that. I don't think, and I believe he would, if I, hopefully I'm going to go to Austin, hopefully I'll get to interview him. He would probably agree to that adolescence was, because Richard Reeves did. I give Richard Reeves so much credit for this. He even commented on adolescence. He's talking about how there's so little violence that happened that adolescence misrepresents. Again, for those of you who don't know, adolescence is...
Here you go. Well, here's your smoking gun. Here's your smoking gun.
A lot of these guys are like delusional as it is. You expect them to understand when they're being violent,
Right.
when they're
On
not,
top
and you
of
also
that.
expect them to be completely honest. Like
Well,
anything
well,
that is
I'm with you,
a self-reported study,
I'm with you, Katerina.
I think has no validity because people that have delusion.
Okay, one more time. Katerina, I don't think everyone who's an incel has delusion, number one. Number two, there's no data that shows that incels are more violent. So what would someone would have a counter study, especially
I
this.
mean, you need a wide general range. Like you can't just go to incelforum.com. That's like me going to a university and expecting the majority of the opinions to be conservative when they're more likely to be liberal.
Yeah, my point is, I'm not offended by.
You need a far-reaching study. What I'm saying
agreed.
is that study
Agreed.
is not
But hold on,
valid.
you have to also understand there are limitations to what you can do as a study, right? So these really big studies, because they're limited, it doesn't mean we cannot use their data.
But how big of a study was it? How many people were polled?
Was it 13? I forgot how many it was. It was quite a few.
Quite a few
thousand. I don't remember. I have to go back and look. My point is, while your point is correct, that is not what my issue is. My issue is I don't think William Costello is the problem at all. He's the one who put the study together, and his findings don't disagree with anything we've ever said on the show.
That's the problem because I don't find his study valid.
So hold on. So you think the study is not valid because you think incels are violent?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that the pool.
I just translate this word for myself. Yes, they are.
The
They are fucking
methodology.
violent.
Do you think they're violent?
I do.
Doesn't
I
Jordan
do.
Peterson
Listen,
say
That they are the problem.
like why don't you go to like the correctional facilities, right, like the prisons, and then you start finding out, hey, who was getting laid before they became violent and who wasn't. I feel like that would be a much
interesting.
better
That's
judge than going to incel.com.
That's interesting. Like that's an interesting way to do it. And I did bring this up to William. I said I think it's strange because most guys that I know that are actually incels would never call themselves incels.
No, they absolutely
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
Because they're not. They just want to like live it all.
No. They're being celibate on purpose, like
Correct.
Voluntary.
But at the same time, they're not violent. And so if there's findings that
you
they're
don't
not
know that they're violent.
Okay.
I have met
are
many
violent.
men.
Okay, let me
who
start
are
over.
violent,
Let me start over. Let me start
and
over.
Their friends
Hold
would never
on.
believe.
Let me start over. A study that was funded by a group that wanted to find out that they were
a
violent.
survey,
One more
a
time.
self-reported survey.
Let me finish the sentence because I don't think you're getting my.
Guys, we are not.
Okay. Let me finish my sentence here because you're missing my point.
All together.
You're missing my point. My point is,
No, I got your point.
it was
That's
funded.
why I argued
It's
it.
funded by a group that wanted to find out that they were violent, and still they found that they weren't violent.
But the
Yeah,
study was
how
flawed.
to like make people like
I
believe
need you to address my
Still,
point.
even in
I
spite
need
of
you to address
that,
my point.
the impression
It's a
that
self-reported
everybody
survey.
wanted us to believe is that they
You can't do a
still
self-reported
are.
survey. You have to look at crime
Well, okay,
statistics. You
you're
need to
still
look at
stuck on
people
this.
who
I need you.
actually commit crime.
just address my point. I'm not
I
telling you that your
haven't
point.
addressed your
You
point.
have not addressed my point because my point is that a guy was funded by a group trying to find out that they were.
But how do
that
you
they-
know what they're trying to do?
Because
They can't
it's the UK group for countering extremism. Why are they going to fund? Why are they going to fund
They were
stuff?
founded by somebody who needed,
Yeah, no, because they're trying to find extremism.
or just maybe believers too. They try to.
I feel
Or
like
maybe
I've
just
heard-
believe
I feel
women.
like-
Yes, I mean, like, you
okay.
know, if you want to cover something, just pretend to fight with this.
Well, also, women are not reporting that incels are being more sexually violent towards them
feel
either.
like
It's easy to build
I've
him
heard
up.
The
like,
men
yes.
who don't get laid are more violent. I mean,
Actually,
she said it before.
They went into
really funny, really funny.
On the
Hold
show.
on, totally different.
You're
And
from the show, remember.
listen. Actually, I've heard this before, and I actually heard William Costello talk about this. That's not true. It turns out that the original evolutionary theory was that men who were of lower stature and lower socioeconomic class were more likely to commit sexual assault. It actually turns out that men are of higher socioeconomic class are more likely to commit sexual assault.
And
that's why we
I
have
can say
pale
why.
Not likely
hairs
coming to
running
get
the
away.
country.
Anyway, well, hold on. But the reason why I want to bring this up, is because the idea that evolutionary psychology is not falsifiable, they called their own foul on that. They said, this is what we believed, and now we believe something different. And so that's why I think.
But they don't believe something different. That's why we still have this
They
shit
don't do
going
this
on in the
because they know they
schools.
can't.
Again,
And compared to
Still
people
have
with
this
status,
thing.
they
Rollo,
still
you're still doing this.
It's on the.
Hold
It's
on.
on the.
You-
It's
hold on.
still on the floor of the fucking
Rollo,
parliament. right now.
you keep missing my point here.
Right.
The bus labs are they're in Travis County on the 40 acres of the University of Texas at Austin. Okay, what's going on in Parliament does not have to do. He's not even a British citizen. He's Irish. What's going on there has nothing to do. I'm not saying it's not inspired, but William Costello has nothing to do with the production of adolescents.
I'm not
That's
saying
my
that. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not saying that they're not like sitting on set watching all this stuff, making sure that everything goes according to their research. Okay, I'm not saying that they're right there. Okay, I'm saying it's inspirational for that fucking thing to go off in the first place. It's inspirational, and now finally, this bald-headed guy, I forget the guy's name. The name of the documentary that's getting overshadowed, of course, by the Manosphere thing right now. But I believe it's called Lonely Boys, Dangerous.
show that.
Men.
Send that to me. I didn't know
Lonely
that. I
Boys,
saw
Dangerous-
the interview with William Costello.
I'll let you. I'll bring it up. I still have it on here.
I feel like Jordan Peterson has mentioned though, like men that are incel status are dangerous to society, and that's like coming from a Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, but Jordan Peterson's not an evolutionary psychologist. He's not a sociologist. He's a clinician who just kind of like steps outside of his
Guys, you
bounds.
know, we can put it all together. All lonely people are kind of dangerous, especially.
I don't think they are. I think they used to be. I don't think they are in today's environment. I don't think that
Let me
dangerous.
read this to you really quickly because this is the smoking gun right here. Okay, Swansea University acted as the lead academic contractor. They designed the survey, secured ethical approval through Swansea, collected and analyzed the data, and then delivered a technical report and recommendations back to the CCE. These outputs were then published on the UK government site as the CCE commissioned study and simultaneously hosted on Swansea's research repository in their press release.
They must have been embarrassed as shit.
The commissioning then again, why did that bald-headed guy have the idea that
because he didn't read it, because he doesn't know how to read a fucking abstract, because he doesn't know how to read a fucking abstract.
If that's the case, then why are these women like up in arms on the floor of the parliament making rules
because
for their
they cannot read peer-reviewed studies. They are incapable of reading them, because anything that goes against, that's what woke means. Woke means I am not going to engage in the conversation because they're woke. That is what woke is. Woke
just means you're politically aware.
No, it doesn't. Woke does not mean you're politically aware. Woke means you don't want to have the conversation. Woke means I am politically aware is not being offended. Outrage culture is part of woke.
Literally, it's titled "The Government Commissioned Report Predicting Harm Amongst Incels."
Man, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing because that's not what they found at all. That's embarrassing. That's my point.
I think a more accurate survey would be to, have 5 women fill out forms about these men.
Sure. I think a combination of those things could be that case. I think another way to do this, and if William's watching this and they wanted to do a part 2 to this, another way to do this is, have you not had sex in 2 years, instead of calling you a name, a pejorative like incel. I hate that word. That word. Now I know what it means.
Make people shut down immediately.
There you go. That's exactly my point.
Stop asking you why you're looking at this later.
Instead of calling them incels, I think they could have gotten a better report if they had said, "Have you not had sex in a few years and wanted to?"
Don't call them a name like an incel. Relations within the past 2 years. It's such a simple question.
And the word wasn't initially a pejorative. It's just TikTokers who try to make fun. Who anytime they get any sort of negative criticism on TikTok, they go, "That you're just stupid incels." So now it becomes a pejorative because of that, and so that's why I don't like that word. I think that part I can see that as a weakness in the study. My point is, the whole thing was a set of dominoes set up to find out that incels were violent, and they didn't fucking find it.
I mean, but you could go to I get it, but you could go to jail. You start asking these inmates, "Are you violent?" And they're going to be like, "Nah, I'm cool."
I don't know that felons are more likely to not go to go without sex before they were felons. I don't know if there's any data to that.
I'm just saying, there's delusions there. You can go to jail and you can talk to an
but
inmate,
incel doesn't mean
"Are you violent?" They'll be like, "No," but they're in there because they beat their wife.
So some guys who are incels because they're just short or not physically attractive. There's no mental delusion there. Some of them are, but some of them are delusional. Some of them are just heavily autistic, and some of them just grow up where they're just not very handsome. That also happens. So mental illness is not a direct correlation with incel.
Or even violent. Or violent.
Again, I think they're not violent because of video games, porn, and social media, gambling, and marijuana. I think that's why they're not violent. I think in a previous time, if this was the 17th century, I think there would be an uprising and they would burn the White House down. I think that's what would happen 300 years ago. Right now, I don't think that's going to happen because they have some. You want to know why? Because November 19th, the world changes because Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out and nobody is going to be doing shit for a month.
That's probably true.
Yeah. You want to do the Tony Robbins one?
Oh, I'm going to give you this one real quick, just so we can stick a fork in this.
Where does our fear of incels come from? Why am I so worried?
I think the moral panic is kind of reaching a fever pitch at the moment in response to the success of the television program, the Netflix show Adolescence.
The wildly successful drama which told the story of a 13-year-old incel killing a female classmate who had mocked him was designed to start a conversation about growing misogyny in young men. But the fictional program caused some viewers to become confused and concerned.
Because when they started going on about emojis and what it actually means and this and that, I'll be the first one to look at my dad who's like, "What are you sending all these weird little pictures of your text from?" He doesn't know what emojis mean. Apparently, neither do I.
It was not attempting to be a precise and literal portrayal of incels, but in Westminster and the mainstream media, it was treated as a piece of factual television.
Yes, this is my point exactly.
In this place will be aware of the groundbreaking new Netflix program called Adolescence.
Come on. I want to hear this. Everybody quiet.
Violence against girls. The creators of the show are calling for screenings in Parliament and schools to spark change.
So it was disconcerting for me as a researcher to see politicians kind of putting the TV show front and center in their policy discussions. But policy should be based around sober research rather than performance art, no matter how emotionally compelling that performance art is.
What are the inaccuracies with adolescents?
This idea of parents unwittingly raising a monster who spends too much time on their computer and is radicalized by what they see on their computer, that just hasn't really happened.
This changes nothing about Davison's horrific actions. But if we want to stop young people,
anyway, I think it's on something different. Anyway, my point is, he even says that he's concerned. He was concerned that they were using this as a political action.
Right. They were using his. Well,
no, they were using adolescents.
Yeah, again,
not his research.
Again, but as far as I'm concerned with his research, he knew what he was fucking getting into with this guy Whitaker. Whitaker was the dude who was the lead who was going on the witch and who wanted to find terrorists. They didn't find the terrorists.
Then he double-crossed Whitaker.
Then how? Okay.
Then he double-crossed Whitaker.
Then how? Then why is this guy not screaming from the fucking rooftops that this is? Why is he not on Parliament floor telling you guys are full of shit?
Because he's not a British citizen. He's Irish. That's the first reason. Number two, he's getting his PhD from the University of Texas.
You're right. He's getting his doctorate.
Yeah. And by the way, I wouldn't want to leave I wouldn't leave Austin, Texas to go to fucking UK at any time whatsoever. Because they got Stubbs barbecue, they got County Line barbecue, they got Terry Black's barbecue, they got Roland.
We barely got Jake Monroe out of Dublin.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Do you want to do this one? I think you're gonna love this one. This one is crazy.
I got to backpedal.
Oh, I know one with the blonde lady. The blonde lady being her masculine. I know that. I know exactly what one this is.
There's Tony.
I say go yourself.
I say, okay, good. That's good. I'm glad to see the feminine is fully developed in you.
I'm about 99% masculine.
99%? Wait a second. Move over. Move over. I just want to see this. I just want to get a closer look. 99% masculine. Yes. Look at the state right now. Is this your idea of masculine?
No.
No. Oh, this is the 1% that shows up every now and then?
Yes.
I see. It shows up when a masculine energy shows up. Then she goes back feminine. But she surrounds herself with men that are more feminine and calls herself masculine. Because you actually do become masculine around them.
I mean, I've learned in the seminar I need to be more feminine, but it's just a difficult thing to do.
Is it?
I mean, I feel like
I just walked up to you and you changed states somehow. And it wasn't attraction. It's not hard. It's that you keep surrounding yourself with people you think you can control. And the fastest way you control them is you tear them down. Now, you don't always do it verbally and directly because that's a little dangerous. So you do that in your own head. And you demonstrated 4 or 5 times in the first 3 sentences that you spoke about your boss and everybody else, did she not? You emasculated all of them as fast as you could. Because there's 2 ways to be significant. One is work your ass off and grow and take risks and go through the injustice of life that we all go through. Or the other is tear everybody else down. And have the illusion that they're going down, you're moving up. Have you ever been with a woman?
I'm really attracted to men. The problem is I turn them like tires.
You turn them like tires.
Yeah. So they rotate right in and out.
What kind of men do you tend to rotate truthfully?
So it's been half and half. So I would say definitely go for sometimes a feminine side, but more recently it's been the very masculine type.
And how would you rotate a masculine? I'd just love to hear this. If they were truly masculine.
In the bedroom.
And your idea of rotating in the bedroom would be?
I'm very feminine.
Oh, you become very feminine?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the bedroom you become very feminine. And then how does that rotate them?
I just don't keep them.
You don't keep them?
Yeah. So I don't let them get close enough.
Perhaps you're confused. And they leave your house and are very happy that you rotate them.
Bro. Okay, let me ask you a question. My first question. Hold on. My first question to you: if this is probably 25 years more than that, it's probably in the 1990s when he does this. How fucking fast does Tony Robbins get canceled if he's doing that today?
100%.
He is under. He's probably arrested at this point. Wow. Tony Robbins, you used to be able to say shit like this without getting canceled. What Tony Robbins said was 100% correct. Many masculine women are masculine because they do not trust the men that are around them to be masculine. And when Tony Robbins, his 6'8" billionaire ass, walked right up to her, she turned super feminine like that. That is a real thing. But to admit turn feminine when they're around masculine men in itself is deemed misogynistic. And so you can't say that back. Now, back then you could say it because there was no red pill space. People were not outraged by what Tony Robbins was saying. And that probably wasn't public. That's probably been released from a private, whatever the fuck. I want to show you guys one more video. Can we see the second one?
Let's Rachel start.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why I don't focus on relationships.
Okay, why don't you focus on relationship?
Because I can't. It's out of my control.
She says it's out of her control. Is it out of her control, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no? This is her strategy when you do something she doesn't like. She thinks she's going to punish you by pulling back and not sharing her emotion and then giving you an evil look. When did you develop this at 2, 3, 4, or 5? When did you develop that pattern? Truthfully.
Probably the one when it didn't matter what I said or what I did or whatever. I had to take it whether I liked it or not.
Yeah. How old was that?
Infant, like on up, my whole childhood, I guess.
Your whole childhood. Did you know, I know this is probably news to you, but did you know that that was true for all of us? That all of us, when we were that little, we had to take it in because we had no choice? That if we weren't heard, that was just tough because we're all vulnerable, that you weren't alone in that process?
Well, you also learn that, or some people learn that, well, if you let them think that they're getting what they want and that they're getting through to you, then everything's fine. But if you continue to think what you want to think and you just pretend to be what they want, then you still win in a sense because they're just an idiot.
So now you just learned her whole model of the world. The model of the world is life is a battle. It's a battle between doing what you believe is right and what other people are trying to make you do. And if you can make them believe that you're agreeing with them, then you can still do what you really want to do. But that look doesn't accomplish that goal. Because the truth is that's not all you're doing there. What you're doing there is trying to get your significance back. They explain to me your entire model of the world about what life's about, which is a complete lie and complete story. But it is true for you because you believe it. So you will always find it. So if I say look for brown, and you have to find brown, if it's not here, you'll find something beige and call it brown so your brown world continues to exist. So I know you believe it. But that's not even what I asked. I asked this, where did that little symbol you just did? Because what you did didn't make it look like you agreed with me. You made it crystal clear for the longest quiet period humanly possible with dagger-like eyes. I don't know what, I'm not that poetic, but I'm sure you have some poetic words you would use for it. To let me know that I don't agree with you. You not only let me know, you're letting everyone know that you don't agree with us. So the whole story you just told me is bullshit.
Okay. Why is that so significant? Anybody know?
Yeah.
That is Rachel
I
Starr.
did.
She went on to become one of the biggest porn stars who has ever walked to the face of this planet.
Everything. To
Yes.
Be honest.
Why she doesn't have a time?
Yeah, no, but when she's like I can't control it, and when she's talking about I just do what they say and I still think what I'm thinking, she's talking about her doing pornography. That's a hardcore studio pornography in the late 90s is what she's talking about. Anyway, the point I was trying to make, going back to this, is it's so funny that Tony Robbins was saying the exact same shit that we were 30 years ago, and he was using it to improve people's lives. And back then it was totally fine. He was not canceled. Nobody on The View was talking about him. Nobody had shit to say. He wants to go up to a woman and say, you think you're masculine? You're not going to be masculine next to me because I'm a big old strong masculine man. And she's like, yes, you're right. Yes, daddy. Yes, daddy. Yes, daddy. Daddy. And we saw it happen. And even if you think it's bullshit, the fact that he said it, that's what he believes. But you can't say that shit now. No, you can't.
We
or you'll
got
be
used
demonetized.
to be challenged, and now we got used to be butter up like for everything.
I saw him about 4 years ago, and he wasn't much different to that, to be honest. He was still quite outspoken in one of his shows. So he still has that gift, I guess, so to speak, in the presence that gets people to listen to what he's saying. So I don't know. Roles reversed would be a lot different.
You know what I think is so funny about this? As far as spectrums, right? And there's on one end of the spectrum, there's conservative and trad wife and all that. But then on the other side, it's more liberal and more freaky and more submissive in the bedroom. And then if you become very extreme in that sort of subspace, you bring yourself right back to being a trad wife and being submissive.
And we have to be flexible, as story shows to us. Yes, we cannot be one or another, left or right. It's pretty cool when we can contain every spectrum of this insanity in our life.
Yeah.
Then happiness comes to your life.
That's femininity.
At least it's not feminism. So.
I feel like it's knowing when there is a masculine and you're in that space to drop into that.
The idea, I agree with you guys, obviously. The idea that you can drop into that feminine space because I'm masculine is offensive to a lot of people.
Otherwise, we wouldn't show up here.
It's offensive to the UK government. I can tell you that right now. That's on the list.
Again, because one of the things it said on the list is, do you think that women are attracted to assertive, dominant men? And so if they're attracted to assertive, dominant men, which I just saw a billionaire who's 6'8", who is assertive and dominant, who has a raspy ass voice, and is one of the most well-known, most recognized human beings who's ever walked this planet, sit there and go up and talk to this woman, and she all of a sudden became very, very feminine. I saw that with my own eyes.
It's unfortunately few and far between.
It is, but you also have to think of like the body language dynamics, right? So like as women, we typically will like shrink ourselves around men that we find threatening. So him being 6'8" and it being his show and like she's the guest.
Do you think she was threatened?
I think she was the wrong word, threatening. I don't think threatened. I don't think she's threatened at all.
I'm not saying like she's like fearful of her life. I'm saying it's like intimidating type of
I think that
I respected.
I think that was probably the most memorable moment of her entire life.
But maybe that's what I'm saying. But it's also highly intimidating. Like a 6-foot guy to walk up to you and
but
be like, "No,
it's sexually
I'm in
intimidating.
control."
Like
you're gonna be like,
power stuff.
But he didn't even say he was in control. He just apparated. He just appeared.
But he said he did because he was like, "Oh, now you're pretty feminine now that I'm standing here."
Yeah.
Like, so he literally did say like, "I'm in control."
Just posted up on her. That's
what. But I guess it depends on how you say threatening. I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
No, I'm not saying like she's afraid like violence, but
from
like intimidating.
But from my point of view, that's the complete opposite of that. So for me, a man I love a masculine man, and I'm not threatened by them. I'm not inferior of them. I get excited by a man who is a man. I respect them. I love that. I love my door being open. I love a man taking control, not because I think they're above me. I like that role. I like that whole. That's a masculine and feminine role.
It's very cool when you know where is your place.
No.
And when people know where is their place, like it's like
I know I'm equal. I'm equal in different ways, but I love that.
Hey, let me ask you something. It's totally.
But I'm saying like he's like.
I wouldn't use ever the word. No man is threatening me.
You know what I'm saying?
A man is equaling me.
Challenging her views of the situation, so that could be viewed as like threatening, intimidating. Like
that Tony Robbins is definitely not this Tony Robbins.
Everyone in this room should know.
And so now, like
masculine is not the power of the universe. Feminine is. I'm not placating you. That's what every man would die for.
But it's not the same Tony Robbins. I'm sorry.
Give his life. That's what a real masculine man is, by the way.
That is where his bread is buttered.
Tell you what to do.
Ooh, that's a strong pivot.
One that loves you so much they can feel inside you and they know what's right. And they may share it with you for a different place, not for them, for you. And you can feel the difference when someone's trying to tell you what to do for their benefit or when they know what's right.
Hilarious.
There you go. That's the difference. Which was that 25 years ago was the other one.
Guys,
first one?
that old clip of Tony Robbins. Please look it up. Share it with as many people as you can, so you can hear Tony Robbins spilling red pill shit right there on camera. Before now, he won't do it again now, but he did it back then.
But we have to feel this narrative, like, and like follow the audience, like to like to hear what to tell what they want to hear. It's always this ideas about we hate some people, but we make money over hating people. There's the same way. Like 10 years ago, you're gonna say this like right now.
Well, I'll bet you 20 years ago the majority of his audience was male, and I think it's probably progressed to where he's 50-50 or mostly female.
So guys, what the
20 years ago we all probably had different views as ourselves.
Sure, we did.
So
yeah,
like we've all progressed anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And I believe 20 years ago it wasn't that thing like a sales as a trouble.
20 years ago, Barack Obama was kicking all the illegal aliens out, and he was against gay marriage. You're exactly right. 20 years ago, we were very different. All right.
What's the title on that?
Let's community. Just hit C for community.
Community. I didn't know what this started with. There you go.
Is it really that bad to be the community puh? There's just so much love that needs to be shared out. To be getting passed around, you must be doing something right. It just means that you're taking your water and vitamins. And honestly, I just see that more as an achievement than disgraceful. And think about it, getting the same flavor of ice cream every single day just gets boring. You're gonna want to try different flavors if you know what I mean. Shit, a girl needs a community, not just one person. Calling someone a community ball is so much worse than actually being the ball. Y'all can't shame someone for being popular. Also, is having a big heart really that much of a crime? There's way too much hate in this world to not be sharing out so much love to different people. And sometimes love is expressed in different ways, and that's okay. Honestly, I only made this video because I've been getting community pie allegations, which I'm not even really too sure what that means, because I don't even get with that many guys. The most at a time I get with is like 10. That's not even a crazy number, but summer's coming around, so the number's only going to increase.
Rage bait, right?
Anyways, that's the end of this video. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Deuces!
That's rage bait. Yeah, I saw this this quote, and it said, "The mouth that gets washed by many toothbrushes is very clean, but the toothbrush that cleans many mouths is very dirty."
Yes, and that's it. Men stop sleeping around because Katarina told you. This is the funniest one I have ever seen. Have you seen this one?
He's moved on.
No, I understand, but the other one is the key locks. Yeah, I'll tell you the other one. This is fucking hilarious.
So I was thinking, baby, we've been dating what, like 2.5 years?
Almost 3 years.
It's been good. I think we should be exclusive.
What?
I think we should be exclusive, baby.
What are you talking about?
Like, I think we should date each other and we should be exclusive.
Do you even know what exclusive means?
Yeah, just you and me.
What the fuck? What are you talking about? We've been exclusive. Are you fucking with me right now? Because you're about to piss me the fuck off.
Baby, I thought you'd be happy. Like, I'm saying I think we should be exclusive. I want to take it to the next level.
But we've been exclusive, motherfucker. Who have you been dating then? Off me. Why do you do shit like that?
Because the camera's on.
Keep it. It's only you, baby.
Let me see your phone.
Now he lost trust for the next 2 years.
I think it was legit.
No, she's got the phone right there. How is that?
No, I think he set it up. I think they probably make content together, but he set that up. Yeah. That's hilarious. When I heard that shit, I was like, why are you telling your girl you want to be exclusive? And then I was like, oh shit, that was funny.
I believe it will be like real shit, and it's exactly like Latino girl. He will probably be dead by like.
Yeah, he'll be dead. Yeah, that's why I did it so funny.
She was way too calm.
Yeah, she's like,
that was a
if this were you, that conversation would have been done.
You will die tomorrow. Okay, give me a couple of minutes. I want to do this beautiful work. You're gonna remember the pain.
Let's do. Actually, I want to check out this Mouse Paradise one. Everybody's been telling me about this.
Yeah, it's actually based on Mouse Utopia.
Yeah.
This is why everyone is single and men stop trying. This is the Mouse Paradise, a scientific experiment from the 1960s. They made the perfect world for mice with unlimited food, safety, and no predators. In the beginning, they placed 4 females and 4 males and let them multiply. The population exploded, hundreds, then thousands. Then something strange happened. They stopped mating. And within 4 years, they were extinct. But why? According to scientists, the reason was social interaction overload. Just like humans on social media today. They were in 24/7 interaction with thousands of others. Too much stimulation, too much competition for social status, and this led them to lose the ability to form bonds, to mate and raise their young. Many males became so-called the beautiful ones. They lost interest in females. They just groomed themselves all day and withdrew completely because they could not compete in this chaos anymore. And the females followed by losing interest in males. So no mating, and they all just died without having babies. Since 2010 smartphones, humans are living the same social interaction overload. 24/7 status competition, income and lifestyle comparison with thousands of others, physical looks to impossible standards. And many young people just choose to withdraw. For the first time in history, young people are having less sex than their parents. 30% of men under 30 had no sex for a year. Loneliness epidemic hits us harder than any virus could. You know, the mice couldn't turn this off. You can.
So true.
So that's.
What do you guys think?
So true. I think it's natural selection. Like for a really long time, like men have been telling women to shut their legs, and now women have shut their legs, and men are mad about it.
Don't you think it's quite the opposite? Do you think women started opening their legs when the 1960s and 1970s with free love and Title IX, the birth control pill, and like when I look at the DNC with Kamala Harris when she was running, and I see Glorilla, when I see Megan Thee Stallion, when I see Cardi B, and when I see Jennifer Lopez, I don't think that the message is to close your legs at all. That's not the message I'm saying.
Music
at all.
has like been like that forever. Like,
But those are the main people speaking at
No,
the
but
DNC.
I know what you're saying because let me just like finish your sentence for you here.
Go ahead.
Simply because it's like because I hear this all the time. It's like, well, all you guys in the manosphere talk about, like, you talk one way and say like, well, women need to be virginic, pure, and zero body count, but then on the other hand, you want them to be,
freaks in bed.
Yeah, freaks in bed and OnlyFans girls and whatever. And you just it's basically the whore Madonna complex is what it ends up being. And from if all you're consuming, if all you're looking at is like, manosphere content, or you're on Reddit, or you're on, if you look hell in the chat, for Christ's sake. One of the things I've always hated was the idea of that, like, Myron said this before, it's like women sell purity. No, they actually don't sell purity. It's
prostitution is like the most profession in the world.
But see that, and that's the thing is, and that's one of the reasons why I get run up the flagpole whenever I get into the conversation about body count, because I can give you the data. I can tell you here's how body count affects your ability to pair bond. Here's how body count affects socially or sexually transmitted diseases, or marital contentment, or whatever. There's all kinds of studies to relate those stats. But by me relating that to you, the presumption is that I'm saying close your legs, ladies. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. I'm just giving you the data right here. I don't have a problem with body count right now whatsoever. You do what you're going to do. I'll do what I'm going to do. So I'm not trying to like convince somebody of or endorse any kind of lifestyle or anything. I'm just giving you. But by me giving the data, like I said before, you can't give people data, facts, stats, whatever, without telling them how to feel about it. Some guys will take that and presume that I mean that women sell purity. Other ones will say, well, Rola's letting everybody know that these are just, unconscionable whores, right? And I'm like, no, I'm just giving you the data. So it just kind of depends on who you're listening to. And so I can understand why there's that confusion there, because you'll have these guys, and hell, half of them are in the chat right now.
Because it's become just
how many partners is too many? One, they want some like virgin bride from the Amish Dutch country in Pennsylvania, right? I mean, and it's like you got to have some sort of like, you got to understand like realities of what's tenable and what's not. But it's easy to be this really sort of zealot on online. But the fact of the matter is, as we were saying before, like these guys aren't having sex anyway. So you're gonna hold out until you can find this virgin bride, or are you just basically making your necessity a virtue?
Yeah, you cannot get laid, not because of women are bitches, because something wrong with you. Even bitches doesn't let you lie.
And you know what I think, Lise? That type of behavior and that type of mentality, I feel like it leads them to look for a much more extreme version of a woman, like a virgin who's 30 or something, with like a master's degree.
And wanted to be her.
But what I think in reality is happening is those men have lost so much faith that they have artificially set their standards so high to the point where it's no longer obtainable. So now they have an excuse for why they're not getting laid.
Yes, 100%.
Exactly. And the question is, have they ever have any standards like?
Wait, we're talking about men or women?
Like even like men about this. You got like when it's about standards, it's about like I need this wife because
this is gonna be something that's gonna really sort of like piss off a lot of people.
I love pissing off people.
I've been getting into some of the. I'm probably going to write something on Substack about this at some point. But the thing is like we're talking about sexless stats and everything else.
But
and
I mean, like even like this,
But if you go back through the genetic record, now that we've plotted the human genome, we can go back in time and like we could determine 8,000 years ago, one man for every 17 women reproduced. Okay. So guess what? Now we're just hyper aware of the fact that there's going to be a majority of guys who aren't going to get laid. They don't fuck. There's going to be guys who don't fuck, and there's going to be guys who do fuck. Okay, and there's more of the guys that
play
don't.
The game if you don't know
there's
how.
more of the guys that don't than there are the guys that do. So a lot of social conventions and a lot of the shit that we're hemming and hawing about right now are simply cope and contingencies for guys who don't fuck. Okay. And I'm sorry it has to be that vulgar. I'm sorry that has, but that's just to prove a point here is that there are certain guys that are simply not going to reproduce. And it's just history. It's just genetic history following afterwards. And so one of the things I've always said, I'm sure he's probably the same way, is like, I can't help people. I can't help guys who don't want to help themselves. I can't help if you're a guy who would rather sit at home and jerk off and complain about these bitches ain't nothing but tricks and hoes and talk about how we want this pure woman and everything, but like we're gonna go and throw super chats at people so we can call these girls hoes. Like, I can't help you, right? You're one of those guys who's going to be part of that group of guys that didn't reproduce. Okay, and so I'm of the opinion, I'm mulling this in my head right now. I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just accept the fact that there's going to be a minority of guys that are going to reproduce, and there's going to be a majority that aren't.
Yes. It's even like, you still can raise, you still can don't get anyone somebody opinion what it's good, and you still can raise some millions who is going to use your knowledge against certain things. And if people like to take your idea about body count or whatever,
so,
they're idea why they cannot get it, so you can't help
I wonder, this is a little bit more of a meta discussion, but and you mentioned natural selection before. So I wonder if in this mouse paradise, what had happened was there were so many mice that the population dropped. They didn't all die. Apparently, from what I understand, is the population dropped to a point where they found a new equilibrium and they went back to the way things were before. And I'm curious if humans, having 8 billion of us on the planet, have so far exceeded our equilibrium that there's no super necessity to procreate anymore, and it's been weeded out of us. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, yes. So the whole mouse experiment thing, to touch on that, is they've done multiple studies on mammals, and what they have realized is that when conditions are not right, we stop producing. And it goes across all mammal kingdoms. So if the conditions are not right, we're going to stop producing. And one of the things, was the 50s was what now, 70 years ago? That. 70 years ago, there was a social contract. It was women only went to school because they were trying to find a husband. But the social contract was you stay at home, you cook, you clean, and you give this man a child. And this man pays all the bills.
1950s. What a great time.
Right. But they were also on a lot of Quinn all day and all these other uppers.
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes. But now it's women are working. At least in the United States, it's extremely expensive just to have a child. If you don't have health insurance, it's $30,000 just to have a child. And then people wonder why the birth rate is getting lower. Also, to touch on that, it's not that women are having less children. They're saying, oh, the birth rate is dropping. The birth rate is dropping. No, what actually is happening is less teenage girls are pregnant.
Yes.
And why there are more teenage single mothers than there are teenage boys is because those teenage girls are getting pregnant by grown men. And so that has dropped thanks to the push of
I think social media has a lot to do with that.
Because you're so wise, not by your age.
And they also drinking. The adolescents aren't drinking to the point that we were when I was in my 20s.
But there's less predatory behavior, and on top of it, teens now have access to birth control. And that is why the birth rate has dropped. It's not that women in their 30s and 20s are having less children. There are less pregnant teenage girls.
There's that, but also let's skip past teenager. The average age of first marriage was in the early 20s in the 1950s, right. And now it's 30 years old.
Well, that was socially constructed, right? But now, women don't need to rely on a man for.
We're arguing two sides of the same coin. I'm telling you the same thing.
I'm not saying I'm arguing with you. I'm just providing more data.
Out reliability for each other.
My point is, and I hate to say this because I know all my TradCon friends are going to hate when I say this, but it says in Genesis, go forth and multiply. But if we don't multiply, and there's 1 billion people on the planet instead of 8, I think what I'm saying is I think society would still function. I know everyone tells me I'm wrong, but I don't see see what's going to happen.
Especially with AI, right?
That's exactly my point. Yeah. We're just headed in that direction anyway.
There's a reason China does what it does for a reason.
What?
Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying there is a point. It's not 8 billion, but there's a point when there's too many people on the planet. There is. It might be 50 billion. It might be 20 billion. There's a point where there's just too many people on Earth. And we're not
the sustainable point as a species.
Well, possibly, yeah. We could be past the sustainable point. But my point is, going back to that is there's no. So, for instance, there's no stress for us to procreate. Like, I don't walk around Las Vegas International Airport, see thousands of people and think, man, I better have fucking kids or we're done. I don't think that, because there's just people everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? And then I go look online and I see thousands of more people. Whereas I can imagine, I can imagine living, 27,000 years ago. I use that time because that's the end of the Neanderthals and there's only Homo sapiens on the planet. 27,000 years ago, I could see my tribe being like, oh, we don't have enough people. We have to defend ourselves against other people. I need to have more babies. Like, I could see that being a case. I don't know that that's the case now. I just certainly don't feel that way. I don't look at the world and think, I would want a child because I want someone who looks like me. But I don't look at the world and say, I want a child because, man, we sure are running out of fucking children. I don't feel that way at all. I go to the mall. There's plenty of children. Go ahead.
Well, back then you were probably at the age where you probably would have died by now. And
yeah, of course.
So you would have.
I would have long since dead.
Whole thing. That's the whole thing.
But if you take this pill, which is let us live like till 120, so like,
let's take the pill. That's for sure.
Okay, let's take a pill. Let's take a pill. Let's go.
You would have took a battle axe to the head or an arrow to the knee by now. Fell dead. I'll tell you the other thing is this is one of the reasons why the age of first marriage is being delayed is because we've empowered women, because women have more choices, and the problem with that is, that comes along with that is
there's a problem.
Choice.
You say it in problem with that. Choose your words wisely.
The problem is that it's not in itself.
Okay, here's the
women should never have empowerment.
No, here's the problem with that, because women will push and delay motherhood
maybe
until
it's because we don't actually want them.
Right. Well, you certainly don't want them with guys who are just average dudes. You don't want to get with a guy who's simply not good enough for you, who isn't as educated. That's it's the first thing. I hear this on like even commercial television shows right now. Scott Galloway has said this God knows how many times, and it's pretty much obvious is the fact that guys aren't. Like if women want to get married, they got to get married to elite level guys. The guy has to have an education, he has to be at least as educated, make more money than she does. He's got to be taller than her. He's got to be stronger than her. He's got to be.
Otherwise, they can have another baby. Yes.
Well, and so what happens is as a result of, and I'm not saying this isn't. I'm not advocating for you dumbing yourself down. I'm just saying I'm analyzing the system here. The problem with it is, so when women get to 30 years old, 31, why at that point, it's like, okay, I better find a guy to have babies with, or I'm not going to have babies with that guy. Right. So we try to if you want to sell a woman anything, like you can sell, all you got to do is sell her that her reproductive years are evergreen.
Why is the debate that women should lower their standards so that they can have like children?
I'm not saying they should.
Katerina, you have a great point. You have a point.
That point right there is why the birth rate is
okay. So again, we both agree that she agrees that that's the reason why the birth rate is falling. Could it be, however, because of the perceived dilemma of choice, that it's not actually standards that are so high that women have, but yet a delusional sense of what she can get. And then when she comes to the realization that she actually could not get Drake or fucking Chad Thundercock to settle down with her, once she comes to that realization, she's in her mid 30s, and now the guy that she wanted previously, she can't get anymore.
But
could that be it? Could it be?
Because what type of
could it be this? Could it be if I took average men and I was like, man, I think Megan Fox and Sydney Sweeney are so hot, and I messaged Megan Fox and Sydney Sweeney, they don't fucking respond to me because I'm nobody. I'm just an average guy. What if average women though message Tyga or Michael B. Jordan or some center fielder for the Dodgers, and they end up fucking those guys, and which happens all the time? If that happens, could you see maybe how that changes her sense of what she deserves in a relationship as far as money and wealth, looks and height? And I'm not talking about a man being kind. I'm not talking about a man providing. I'm talking about the status of a man. What happens frequently that I've seen, and I have several of my female friends who tell me this.
Anecdotal, whatever. You're in a very unique bubble, like all of us here in this room are, right? Like we're surrounded by high status, very good looking people, and so we're in a unique bubble in that instance. But Mary in Iowa does not have the delusion that she can just DM Michael B. Jordan. And
no, she does. She does, because so I use it. It's called the Jojo Von Salty effect. Jojo Von Salty was a friend of mine in Wichita, Kansas. She was a cocktail server. She worked at a Hooters there, and she gets flown out to because she shows the pictures on Instagram.
She's not delusional. I'm
talking about basic ass Mary that works at Target.
Right.
She's not shooting for Michael B. Jordan.
Let me try to explain this to you, okay? Because this is something I got into with Fresh at one point when Destiny asked Fresh on the show one time. He said, "How many women do you think?" He was asking Fresh. So, how many women do you think? What percentage of like college age women do you think are getting flown out to a yacht party in Biscayne Bay by Drake or an NBA player or something like that? And Fresh is like, well, 30%. It's like, which is absolutely ridiculous. But the thing is it's more like a fraction of 1%, right? But that's all that matters, because in the age of global communication, because we've never had this before in the human history. So all that one girl who gets flown out, she is seen being flown out, or she's live streaming it, or she's putting it up on Instagram, and it becomes social media and it goes viral. And what happens is millions upon millions of other girls across the country, across the world, see that happen, and they go,
"That's what I want for my man.
I'm cute. No, I'm cuter than that girl.
Yeah,
that could
why can't I have that? Why can't my boyfriend get me a yacht?"
And so what happens is you're looking at because what you're looking at is you're looking at the global sexual marketplace and that girl's local sexual marketplace. And the girl you just described, who works at Walmart, or she's a cashier at Starbucks or something like that, she only has really the dating pool of what's in Paducah, Kentucky, right? She's not going to actually get flown out to Biscayne, but because she thinks she's cuter than that one girl, or it possibly
but
could
we're going
be.
to blame the
And
girl,
so-
but not the guy who
and
created all
so
this
the
life.
so the impression is
we can blame him too.
None of the guys,
But he's getting laid.
None of these average guys
I mean, she also probably
are
has-
worth my time, because I'm just as cute as this chick is. And not that she could do that, but to believe she deserves a guy who is better than what her local sexual marketplace can deliver for her. That's how you get this. So it's a perceptive thing, and it's not an actual.
I'll use a different example. This is not the same thing, but just think about this. Do you think that when Sophie Rain said that she made $94 million in 2 years on OnlyFans, that caused fewer women to join OnlyFans or more women to join OnlyFans?
More women, of course.
What do you think?
More, 100% more.
Totally more.
It's obviously tons more. So one more time, it's the woman who's like flown out to Biscayne Bay. She's actually an escort, but she's coming off like she's got a rich boyfriend, and other people see that and they're like, "That's what I want. My boyfriend should do that for me." And so my point is, I agree with you that women shouldn't lower their standards. It's just sometimes their standards are absurd, and they're based on things that they see on social media that are not real. There has never been an envy. There's never been a creation in the history of the universe that creates more envy than social media. It's
I mean, it goes both ways.
But is
Oh,
actually
oh,
we can
oh,
blame
no, no.
like people
You-
who
you-
create
great
her, not
point.
people she
Great
creates.
point. The desire goes both ways.
Yeah.
But the desire goes both ways. But if I message Megan Fox, she wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. That's the difference. I promise you, and you know this for a fact, there's a bunch of celebrities you right now, Katarina, could message and they would message you back. You know what I'm saying. You don't believe me? Hey, somebody help her out. You know what I'm saying is true. You will get
Probably the intern, like, yeah, sure, babe.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, my point is, you still have that access and I don't. And that's going to be the difference. And because I don't have that access, there's a ceiling to my fantasy. My fantasy goes up here and then it stops. The problem is I've seen so many times. Now, it's more prevalent in Los Angeles.
Hold on with that logic though, right? So like you said, you could go into Megan Fox's DMs and she wouldn't piss on you. But don't you here's what I'm not understanding is like, how do you not believe that women have that same similar like experience where they message Michael B. Jordan and he just leaves them on read? Like,
But Michael B. Jordan, he does respond to enough. Michael B. Jordan's a fucking hound.
I mean,
He's a
first
bad
of all,
example.
I'm just,
Tyga's the
I'm
worst.
just using a celebrity.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the one you choose.
I would say it's as a numbers game. I would say I'm going hypothetically, Michael, if you message 100 celebrities and I message 100 celebrities, I may get more.
But you're a woman, and we've
Back
already established
then
that
that's
in like
what I'm saying.
online dating, women
and that's
get more
not about
options.
being Michael or indifferent. It's just I'm a female. That's just how it goes.
Right. So, but do you understand that the problem is now you take a woman who is not self-aware and she does, maybe it's not Drake. Maybe it's the wealthiest personal injury attorney in Paducah that she ends up sleeping with. Okay. She ends up doing that. He has no intention of leaving his wife and zero intention of settling down with her. But she slept with a multimillionaire in Paducah. And in her mind, that is the bar she is stuck at for the rest of her life. And because of that, it's not that her standards need to go up or down. It's that her standards are based on something that isn't real. She believes that she can get men to settle with her. She cannot. And that's the damage that dating apps and social media are doing to women. I'm not, of course, if a man is not kind, if he hits his woman, lies, of course, there's so many ways that men can fall short. I agree with you. The problem is I am now being compared to dudes who have yachts in Biscayne. And these guys aren't settling for these women, but these women who are watching these images think that they are, and it's creating an unrealistic scenario. Very similar, you probably admit this, that men who watch too much pornography probably have a distorted view of how women behave. They start thinking all women are, what do you mean? I become a plumber and I go to a woman's house and she just wants to give me a blowjob. They start getting a distorted view of reality because they watch too much pornography.
Let me cut a hole in this pizza box here.
Yeah. And my whole thing is,
it'll work. I know. I've seen it. I'm sure.
My whole thing is the contrapositive is also true. The opposite is also true, where women will now get a distorted view of what relationships are supposed to look like because they read 50 Shades of Grey, because they got 100 matches on a dating app, and because they see images of women who are basically just sleeping with dudes for money who are out there in Dubai, and they think, man, I want to be at the Burj Khalifa. You don't know what she had to do to go to get there.
Let me see if I can land the plane here, because I know you get it, but let me see if I can give you this on the social scale here. So if average women don't want to get with average guys, the problem with that is that it's average guys that keep the lights on. They're the delta males. They're the guys who are the salt of the earth. They're the guys who are working in raw sewage. They're working on the oil rigs. They're guys who are just like, they might have they might be welders. They might be electricians, construction guys, just the guys who keep the lights on, the guys who keep the America
a
rolling.
lot of these guys also want to the girl, not just like a regular one, like from the cashier store. Like
I'm not talking Michael. I'm not talking Michael B. Jordan. I'm not talking like an alpha. This is like sociosexual. These guys would be known as the deltas. Okay, these are the guys who go out, put an honest day's work in, and they get an honest day's pay, and they come back, and they used to be relatively certain that they could get an average girl and have average babies and live out somewhat of the American dream, right? They go to school or they go to trade school, and they learn a trade, and they're a plumber or there's something else, right? The problem is those guys are the average guys. And if average women don't want to get with average men, we break the social contract. And so now those guys, what's my motivation to be a contractor? What's my motivation to be an electrician? What's my motivation to be, because I can't, exactly. So as I said, those guys now have to, if they want to reproduce, if they want to get with a woman, if they want to marry and they want to live whatever the tradcon dream happens to be, they have to lift themselves up to an elite level just so they're noticeable to average women, because average women don't deal with average.
So if I'm the average man,
but when you lose the deltas and you lose those guys, you lose society as a result of that.
Can I say something which may go against everything with that, is that if perception is everything, like literally though we're saying about the average guy and so forth, a lot of stuff on social media isn't real. So you can just see someone who's like doing well and more.
Yeah, the fitness influencer who takes steroids.
It's
yes,
like,
of course. Yeah,
not real. Something
the fake Bergen bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. You want to try this one, and then
let me get these real quick. I've got there's no such thing as an incel. Nobody is really involuntary celibate. Thank you. I've said this a million times.
You can always go find a hooker.
If getting sex is your life and death goal, there are ways to get it. Hire someone. Numbers game. Thanks for saying what I've been saying for 2 decades now. There's no such thing as involuntary celibate. We live in 2026. Come to Nevada. We'll go to Reno. We'll go into Dayton, Nevada. I will take you to the Mustang Ranch. I'm going to teach you brothel game,
and I'm showing you what you want.
And you bring $500, and I literally will guarantee you will get laid at those places, right? If you want to get laid, you can find a way to get laid. There's no such thing as an involuntary celibate. That's the difference. They want connection. They want something. It's not that they want something super easy. They just don't want to change. I mean, that's how it works out. They're voluntary celibates. Read Watership Down by Richard Adams. Actually, I've seen the movie a few times. Male rabbits knew they needed females, and they stole females from the Ephraim's, which led to a war they won. I'm a nerd. Thank you, I'm a nerd. And then the girl that works at Walmart in Paducah isn't in the DMs of any celebrities, but she is in the DMs of the top 2% of guys in the local area until she hits the wall and starts sending hello stranger messages. What's the one you want to finish out with one?
It's this one right here.
Okay.
It's right there.
Okay,
You just
got it.
passed it. Yep.
Slept with a lot of people, and again, not because she was a whore, but actually because she was insecure.
That's why she's a
What, is she not worthy of connection because she had slept with a bunch of people in a time of her life where she didn't value herself that much? If we were to have that vulnerable, deep conversation and the person that you were was grounded and you've developed yourself and all that stuff, the right person is going to be able to hear that from you, handle that vulnerability, and not judge you for it.
Yeah. Okay, Nolafit.
Oh, is that it? Was that all of it?
That was all of it. Yeah.
Okay, this is like, these are the fucking banderers that I have to fight against. I have a problem with this. Number one, is he right on a moralistic standpoint? Maybe, but that's not why he said it. He said it because he wants to approve. He said, we can't hear you in the microphone. Yeah.
Everything you said is more about like, yeah, I'm ready to listen to you. Just fuck me.
Yeah. The situation is, he just said it because he wants the approval of women. The reality is, while he is saying that, and I agree, there are some women who end up sleeping. That's why the statistics in the end of New Science of Mind, Evolutionary Psychology, New Science of Mind, this book, there's some stats in the end of the book that go over women who get bullied in high school actually have more sexual partners, and men who bully in high school have more sexual partners. Insecurity causing women to sleep with a lot of men is common. Also, there's another study that shows that women, when their father leaves them before puberty, are more likely to go through puberty earlier and choose sex maybe not sex work, but choose to have sex earlier in life as an evolutionary adaptation. So I totally what I'm saying is, what he's saying is not invalid. My point is, when you've been with 200 dudes and then you get to me, I can be as accommodating as you want, but it doesn't mean that the baggage doesn't come along with it and that there isn't damage that happens because you've been with that many dudes. And the data supports that too. The data from the GSS and the IFS show that when women have more sexual partners, they're less likely to be happy in a relationship. And so are men. So are men. My point is, so my whole issue with him is like, why can't you just like see who she was as a person and all this kind of stuff? I can, just like I can forgive someone who stole money from my family, but I'm not ever going to do fucking business with them again. And it's the same situation here. I absolutely can see past the fact that a woman chose at one point in her life to sleep with a bunch of dudes, but I'm not going to marry her. That's the difference. And that's just a choice I've made because it's discernment without judgment. We listen and we don't judge. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I'm going, like I have 3 former business partners who all tried to fuck me over. They all did. And they all lost in the end. In the end, they are irrelevant. Nobody knows who they are. And I ended up winning in all 3 cases. And I will tell you right now that if they came to me and asked me for forgiveness, I would give them forgiveness, and I would never, ever go back into business with them, which is the same situation here, which is why I think what he's saying is nonsense. You guys have any feelings about it?
Lots.
Go ahead.
I know, I've been quiet about it. Yeah, I agree a little bit with what you're saying. I'm a sex therapist, so my own counseling and therapy in this is a little bit, I guess, different to you.
Yeah.
I do believe that, from my own studies, that women who have been in relationships or upbringings that aren't savory, so to speak, do end up in sex work and so forth. It's predominantly more so prevalent. They have bad relationships, they have bad attachment to men. It's generally spoken about in the theory. I don't believe in what you're saying to a degree that people who have been in that kind of environment do not make good partners or wives or so forth. I think as we get older and we evolve, and our own self, guidance for both parts, not just the female, the male as well. You can get better with each thing and learn about each other better. No one is perfect. No one is right or wrong. And I feel like whilst you've got your opinions and so are females, I don't think you can label someone just because they've had sexual partners or this or that.
Agreed. I think you don't need to label them, and I think you can absolutely forgive them and look past it or whatever, but I don't need to marry them. That's my whole point. No. Sorry. That's a decision that I made, and I think a lot of women would feel the same way about I would not date a man who's a felon. I would not date a man who is a drug dealer. You can have the same thing. I would never date a man who I found that he spanks his kids and he believes in women can have preferences on who they want to date. 100%. And I think it's probably not a good idea to be with a woman who's been with 300 dudes. I have plenty of friends, female friends that have been with way more than 300 dudes, right? But it doesn't mean that. It just means it's probably not a good bet for me to get into a serious relationship. Let's leave with this one. This one's pretty funny.
Oh, that one?
Yeah. So if you just type F.
Yeah, I got it.
Thinking delusional beliefs women have about dating from fantasy land to sometimes true. I'm not ready for a relationship. I'm not ready, but she's on 3 dating apps.
That's one.
No, so it's this one right here. That one right there. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. This one, body shaming. Body shaming.
Oh, okay.
This is the funniest one that I have for the whole thing. This is hilarious.
Hang on a second.
That's my bad, guys.
I just wanted to add this video in because every time I see these speed caters, I'm like, this is how my body look. But because I'm black, I feel like my body type is not appreciated in the black community. And it makes me so sad because I like my body and I feel like it looks like this, but it's not appreciated in my community. We like the oversized things. Bitch, I like my body and I'm an athlete. And this is how my body look. Like, when it's a white girl, they're like, oh my God, she's the baddie. But if she was black, they'd be like, she's just regular.
No, you know, she's right, guys. Honestly, we need to put an end to the racist body shaming and the misogynoir because this person and this person look exactly the same.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, guys, you're right. Women are not delusional. We're good. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking. Hey, Crystal, do you have a good time?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. I learned a lot about politics, social media, and a little bit of story, guys. I miss you. Thank you for having me.
Incredible. Do you have a good time, Lala?
The best time. Thanks for having me.
We love having you on here. Vicious, you have a good time?
Always, and I definitely want to come back for Rolo's birthday.
Rolo's birthday. We're having a birthday episode October 1st.
Yes.
We have a bunch of influencers that are coming on just for that. Do you have a good time, Katarina?
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Okay, good. It's awesome. And September?
Always thankful for being here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Rollo can't stay up that late anymore, so we have to do the show much earlier. That's the reason why we're doing it.
Okay.
We were going to do it at 4 p.m. so he could be in bed we could get him in bed by 7. You know what I'm saying?
I was just saying how much I like the daylight savings.
Yeah.
Keep this casual.
So we want to start doing these earlier.
Go ahead.
And to be,
I have one thing to say also. Since I wasn't here in the intro, also I have a new 2 new songs that are out now. Vicious Wolf has 2 new songs.
Okay, so we'll look those out. Go look for Vicious Wolf on social media.
And my producer in Thailand made it, Don Butch, and you can just call it Grails 2, and then For You.
Okay, there we go. Sounds like music. All right, there you go, guys. Bring women home and then play Vicious Wolf's music while you're bringing them back in there and get the mood right. That's what you gotta do.
Exactly. Or the Lover's Dimension.
There we go. Incredible.
So, next show's April 1st, right? April Fool's Day.
Next show's April 1st. We'll probably.
My birthday's April 2nd.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We'll probably Roland and I are probably gonna do a reaction video to the Louis Theroux thing. It's like again. High production value, really, really good. Like as far as camera equipment, and I used to be a videographer, so like looking at that stuff, I was very impressed with the way they're doing. Audio was phenomenal. It was really, really good stuff. However, it was very clear this whole thing was just a hit piece. There was no interest whatsoever in getting to the truth. They looked for the most crazy things that the most extreme guys said, and then they titled that the Manosphere. So that's essentially what's going on. Guys, make sure you subscribe to this Access Vegas channel, my channel, Rollo's channel. Make sure you check out Access Vegas on Rumble as well, and I believe we can also we have a live stream on Twitter. Make sure you guys do that. One other thing, guys, I'm going to ask you guys to do something. If you have friends who want a simple solutions, like, hey man, I can't figure out why I can't meet any hot girls when I go out. These dating apps aren't working for me, man. I've been trying to matchmaker and I've lost so much money for matchmakers, etc. And you're having issues. Please do me a favor. Go to my YouTube channel and check out a playlist called Limiting Beliefs. Check out my Limiting Beliefs playlist. Check out some of those videos in there. There's one called I Want to Get Into a Long-Term Relationship. There's one called I Live in a Small Town. There's one video talking about if I'm an older man and want to date a younger woman. There's one that goes into there's several things, why dating apps don't work at all. And there's several videos showing really attractive women, how they meet the 5 guys that you dated. Spoiler alert, it's social media, it's social circle, and it's exclusive events. That's how they meet the girls. They meet the guys that they end up dating. So if you guys want to learn more about that, go check out the Limiting Beliefs playlist on my YouTube channel. I set it up just for you guys.
And reignitealpha.com. We have a new landing page. We got a new site.
Incredible.
Go check it out. All right, guys. Thanks again. April 1st.
April 1st will be the next show.
Birthday show.
Judge the fuck.
Yeah.
What are your intentions? What are your intentions? Me and her mother here. We just really we want to know what's going on. What's his name? Who is it? What machine at Fit Club did you meet him?
God wants you to have the baby.